It was getting dark, and the evening found the two lovers in each other's passionate embrace. The girl asked her partner why he kissed her. The full moon was shining through their window. He answered her simply and reminded her that she herself wanted him to help her forget about everything that had happened before. And to do this, he had to change everything, even his appearance. Letitia Violet lay on the bed with sad, tear-filled eyes. He stretched, showing off his muscular torso, and wondered why she was drawn to him when she had lost everything. Letitia lay and looked sadly at the ceiling. Her husband had left her. He had left her for another woman. She cried and thought about how bad it was that he reminded her again of her mental tragedy. The guy felt sorry for the girl again. He hugged her and kissed her tenderly. At that moment, she thought that he was perfect and had no flaws. Everything happened so fast that Letitia couldn't understand how it all happened. She was sure of one thing. She was very happy in his arms. A young woman was drinking coffee from an elegant cup when her husband suddenly asked her for a divorce. She thought it was a bad joke on the day they were supposed to celebrate their wedding anniversary. Her handsome husband, Astor Winchester, dispelled her doubts by telling her that he truly loved someone else. He told her that his new love was a simple woman who was not inclined to think about the eternal. And at that time, Letitia's hand nervously squeezed the hem of her skirt. The woman could not stand it any longer. She leaned over her husband, who was sitting at the table, and angrily asked him if he was going to continue talking about divorce again. At the same time, Astor was already telling his mistress that he had finally managed to pay off his debts. Letitia screamed and asked where her husband got the money to pay off the debts. The man also answered her in a raised voice and shouted that he was able to return the entire investment amount. True, he missed the deadline a little, the handsome man admitted. Winchester has always been selfish and will remain so, the blonde believed. Astor continued to drink tea from an elegant mug and listened to the cries about his inability to accept his mistakes. Our family went bankrupt, Letitia continued to scream like crazy. My father had to take extreme measures. The woman's screams began to turn into hysterics. Money means nothing, but the attitude of society changes the moment you lose your status. My father went bankrupt at the time, precisely because he was unable to receive his investments on time. He eventually committed suicide. Astor got the money for one simple reason. He was her husband, and she was her father's favorite daughter. Letitia continued to yell at her husband. Astor, at this time, angrily recalled the moment when Letitia's father asked him if he was ready to marry his daughter. Letitia again thought that if it weren't for his mistress, her husband would never have thought of leaving her. But Astor was tormented by more mercantile thoughts at this time. He was worried about whether he would be able to receive compensation. And anyway, maybe it's enough to talk about money. The black-haired handsome man became completely angry. And what will the compensation change? Will my father come back to life? Letitia continued to be hysterical. She didn't think that her husband would be so mean. What a naive fool she turned out to be. Here she is again with her anger and hostility, Astor thought. The husband could not stand it and shouted back that this whole story was long in the past. Letitia immediately heard that her words, shouts, and moralizing had already begun to annoy her husband. She realized that she had tired him out. She was too emotional, and this strained her husband and prevented him from building a good relationship with her. The man was fed up with the scandal, and he finally decided to say that he was simply fed up with the marriage. Letitia stood in the pitch darkness, crying and listening to him say that it was high time for him to think about divorce. He also talked about how hard it was for him to look at her sad face. The black-haired macho said that at such moments, he felt like a real bastard. Astor asked his wife to give him a divorce and end this agony. He talked about how he also wants to finally become happy, build his own family, and become happy with his beloved. Letitia was stunned by her husband's words, and she hung her head sadly. The woman answered him that she was against divorce because she wanted a child. She wanted this child to be like her. But you can't give birth, Astor answered harshly. In a fit of anger, the wife tore the wedding ring off her hand and angrily threw it on the floor. How dare he talk about the child? Letitia thought. The woman sat on a bench in the yard and thought about why she had become infertile. After all, it was he who pushed her off the stairs, and she lost the opportunity to have children. Of course, he asked for forgiveness then, but it was too late. In return for his terrible act, he promised to take her as his wife. She was still just a child, and the word wedding not only made her happy, but on the contrary, even scared her. The upcoming wedding was supposed to be a penance for him. As an adult, Letitia reminded Astor of his promise to marry and live together for the rest of their lives. He was kneeling in front of the young woman, and a maid was watching them from afar. It was Liana, whom Astor loved more than life. Liana heard the promise of marriage and burst into tears. How could her beloved do this to her? The mother came out of the house. She was looking for Letitia. The mother did not feel sorry for the girl. On the contrary, she blamed her for not taking care of her own body. Letitia cried, and Astor's mother gloated and said that, being barren, no one needed her at all. The mother turned to the father and asked if he had anything else to say. The gray-haired man approached Letitia and said that he knew very well how much effort she had put into making everything go well. Hugging her, he clarified that effort and work alone are not enough for a relationship. Mother hurried me cruelly. All the things are packed and waiting for you at the entrance. Go away. Appreciate our kindness. We even provided you with a carriage. Letitia looked at her things and had the impression that they had been waiting for her for a long time, even before the divorce was signed. The girl was still standing at the porch when a bucket of water poured on her from above. Olivia Winchester, Ader's sister, who poured the water, apologized and pretended not to notice Letitia standing near the house, which is why she poured water on her. Ani smiled maliciously from the balcony and looked at the soaking wet Letitia. The black-haired beauty continued to laugh on the balcony and express sarcastic concerns about whether it was cold for the wet woman below. Letitia stood below and cried. She was cold, wet, and very, very upset. This is still Grandma's dress, Ani continued to sneer. I would, of course, really like to take you there, but unfortunately, I am catastrophically short of time. Olivia continued to sneer. Letitia continued to cry, and suddenly saw Astor with his new passion. He walked through this palace with her, and talked about preparing a room for a guest. Letitia was horrified to think that the guest would get her room. Letitia rushed back into the castle in a rage. How is this possible? It can't be! You can't behave like this! She shouted at the new arrival. The girl was furious. Resentment squeezed her throat, and tears kept flowing from her eyes. The servants could barely cope with her. Had she never been welcomed into this house? Letitia wondered. And then she remembered how her husband's parents looked at her with malicious glee at those moments when he argued with her and beat her. The mother was especially happy about such moments. But Astor's sister was no less pleased with the family scandals. No, this palace was always alien to her. She was never accepted here as a full-fledged member of the family. Astor finally divorced you? Asked a striking brunette with a bright yellow fan in her hands. You managed to do this right on the day of your wedding anniversary. Letitia entered the room where her stepmother was sitting, her head hanging sadly, and apologized. She looked longingly at the photograph of her late father standing on the chest of drawers. Wasn't it enough for your Astor that he bankrupted us? A beautiful and still relatively young woman was screaming at poor Letitia. With her head bowed, the girl listened to the accusations that it was because of her and her husband that her father had committed suicide. You disgraced me, and then you had the audacity to come back to this house. The stepmother drove Letitia away screaming. And how could she even come to this house? The father's widow was simply beside herself with anger. Get out of here, you wretch! You have no right to be in this house. The stepmother was so angry that it seemed that she was about to attack her with her fists. The stepmother told Letitia to never dare return home and defame the memory of her father and her late husband. Letitia remembered her childhood, the time when she was so happy next to her father. And then a terrible thought knocked on her bright head. The woman did not have the strength to fight the world that had risen up against her, and she decided to commit suicide by jumping into the river. Suddenly, Astor appeared before her with his mistress. They asked her what she was doing there all alone. There was not a drop of compassion in the gaze of the black-haired handsome man, only contempt and even disgust. At the same time, he gently held his new passion by the arm and worried that she would slip. Lianka Snowser had long been Astor's lover and expressed a desire to speak with Letitia in person. Astor gently hugged the girl and replied that of course he had nothing against it and was ready to indulge all her whims. The mistress came up to Letitia and asked her if everything was okay, if it was cold here. She even noticed how cold the woman's hands were. With almost childish naivety, Lianka invited Letitia to go for a walk together. She was very upset when the girl, being upset, refused her. It turns out that Miss Snozer wanted to talk to Astor's wife about something that happened before her father's death. Letitia was incredibly surprised by what she heard. How did this young lady know what had happened? She wondered. Lianka was very happy that Astor's ex-wife finally heard her. She continued to ask Letitia if she cherished her father. The woman was very surprised. She could not understand why her husband's mistress was talking about her father and how she knew about him and everything that had happened. Lianka continued to drag Letitia for a walk. She finally intrigued her when she threatened that if the woman did not decide to go now, she would never hear the secret again. Fearing the treachery and cruelty of a woman who had seduced a married man, Letitia continued to follow. Having come to her senses a little, Letitia decided to take revenge for her father's memory and slapped Lianka. But instead of tears and hysteria, Lianka laughed and called the girl funny. She continued to torment Letitia, asking if she found her father's behavior before committing suicide strange. Could people who were ready to commit suicide behave like that? At the very least, the father should have left a will. Letitia remembered that her father had not changed his previous will before his death. Lianka refuted her thoughts, telling her that her father was going to name one heir in his will. Hers, Letitia Violette. But he didn't have time to change his will, and no one knew why this happened. Letitia asked the young, cunning creature who knew so much about her family's past, who had actually benefited from her father not changing his will. And then it occurred to her that they were talking about Ksenia, her stepmother. She was born into a wealthy family, but left with a small child after her husband's death. She had no means of support. At that moment, Letitia's father simply took pity on the widow with her orphaned child and married her. Incidentally, she was also a distant relative of the Violette family. It turns out that if the father had managed to change the will then, Letitia would now be a well-off lady and would not need anything. And the stepmother would not have been able to become the head of the house. Suddenly, a terrible thought struck Letitia. Her father had not died of his own accord, and Ksenia's ex-husband had probably not died of illness either. Lianka saw that Letitia did not trust her very much, so she suggested going to the village and finding witnesses of those years. The only thing Letitia couldn't understand was why her husband's mistress was helping her. But Lianka explained that she didn't like Ksenia either. Letitia couldn't believe her ears. It turned out that while pretending to be drunk, Zenea had actually been hitting on Astor. Many people have seen such a picture, so Ksenia won't be able to get out of it. It seemed that Lianka sincerely sympathized with Letitia, but it was all a lie. She meanly stabbed Astor's ex-wife. Letitia didn't even have time to be scared. She looked at her husband's mistress with wide-open eyes. She threw the poor guy's body into the river without any remorse. At the same time, she called Letitia a fool who had no idea what had happened to her father. Lianka enjoyed her cruelty and was glad that Letitia would soon meet her father. The woman was diving under the water, and it was very painful for her. It was not painful because of the knife, but because she believed in her family and lived for them. It turned out that it was in vain. She remembered again how happy she had been when her father was still alive. Suddenly, just under the water, she heard a voice calling her to stop crying. Before she could come to her senses, she found herself in the arms of a handsome blonde man. He pulled her out of the water and talked about how good she was and what a great girl she was. Letitia came to and could not understand where she was. Her wound no longer bothered her. A young handsome man entered the room, the same blonde. He saw that the girl had already woken up. He stood in the doorway and gently reproached her, reminding her how she had bothered him at night when she constantly asked him to hug her. Letitia stood there in her nightgown, unable to believe her eyes. Before her stood in person the Emperor Sionian himself from the Wonder State of Westeros. The blue-eyed handsome man confirmed with a smile that everything was correct. He was the Emperor of Westeros. The woman wanted to know why he saved her. She asked him about it. The Emperor said that first she must answer whether she was the blood child of Count Violet and the daughter-in-law of the Marquis of Winchester. With tears in her eyes, the girl listened to his next question about how she ended up in the river and with a knife on her chest. The memory made her clutch her still aching wound. The Emperor reminded her that it was he who stopped the bleeding and made sure that the wound did not fester. It was he who did everything possible to save poor Letitia. Langaro Mahashan, the adjutant, shouted at the door. He was shocked by what he saw, by what the Emperor was doing. Without any fear, The adjutant scolded the blonde for the fact that the girl had not yet fully come to her senses, and he was already tormenting her with questions. The man also asked if she was scared when she woke up in a new place. It turns out they were on a ship. It was from the Westeros liner that the Emperor noticed Letitia drowning. The girl thought about what kind of magic it was. Westeros itself, the fairy tale state where the god finally lived. This is probably why such an unusual child was born into the family. Because of his divine powers, he was called Salt. The Emperor began to reassure Letitia that the liner had changed direction, and they were no longer sailing to the east. The girl did not understand what was happening. The handsome man began his story with how he discovered her in the river while examining the city's surroundings. For about a week after her rescue, she was still on the brink of life and death. The girl became interested in whether the Emperor always treated in such an unusual way. During the treatment, he constantly touched her skin. Remembering all the horrors, Letitia asked if he reported to her family that she had survived. The Emperor replied that at home, they had already begun preparing for her funeral. It turns out that Ksenia spread rumors that, depressed after her father's death, Letitia also committed suicide by jumping into a raging river. The Emperor saw a knife in the brunette's chest and therefore did not believe a single word of the household. The Emperor met with Aster and asked if it was Xenia who stuck the knife in and threw the girl into the water. After all, it was she who saw her last. Letitia overheard the conversation and said that it was definitely not Ksenia who did this. She reported that her husband's mistress, Lianka Snoweyser, threw her into the river. The Emperor immediately remembered the girl with blue hair and amazing purple eyes. He also remembered how the lying girl cried at the funeral. The Emperor immediately asked Letizia if she was going to return to her husband. The girl nervously clutched the hem of her dress and thought that it would be better if she died then than to experience such shame. And suddenly, gathering all her will into a fist, Letitia thought that she had no reason at all to die. She'd better come up with her own plan and take revenge on them all for her suffering. The Emperor came into her room and said that he had an interesting proposal. He wanted to help and offer Letitia a plan for the perfect revenge. His plan was so cruel that all of Letitia's ill-wishers would wish for their own death. His Majesty was confident that by obeying him, the girl would not only take revenge, but would also regain her position in society and her rightful inheritance. His confidence was transmitted to the young woman, and she believed that she could get her life back. The only thing that worried Letitia was how much she would be paid for her help. She asked the handsome Emperor about it. Smiling, the Emperor confirmed that he would of course demand payment from her. The girl lay and thought that Letitia Violet Winchester was dead forever. Letitia was dejected. What else would she have to do? The Emperor liked her resourcefulness. He sat down on Letitia's bed and told her that the man who killed someone dear to him lived in Northland. To find out who he is, Letitia will have to enter high society and expose him. This was the role that the Emperor assigned to Letitia. This was his payment for her help. The Emperor promised to give her a new life and a new status. With his superpowers, the Emperor promised to turn her into a completely different person. He could make it so that relatives would not be able to recognize Letitia. This really surprised the woman. Could this handsome blonde man really change her appearance? The Emperor smiled mysteriously and answered the girl that he could do everything. After all, he was the almighty Salt. At the same time, the handsome blonde was thinking about the fact that Letitia was surprised whether he should make such sacrifices. Letitia was also puzzled by what was happening. They were basically complete strangers to each other. The Emperor gently stroked Letitia's cheek and reminded her that they had seen each other at her wedding, which meant they were not complete strangers to each other. Taking her hand, the ruler reminded her that he had already managed to give her some very practical advice. And indeed, his advice was that she should leave Aster Winchester as quickly as possible. Remembering the wedding, everyone remembered that in fact, back then, in the winter, Sol was also invited to the wedding, and his companion was the second prince of Northland. Even then, there were rumors about salt, that it could heal people and remove curses. Could Letitia have even imagined at that time that she would be able to see him so close? The blonde, handsome man sitting in front of her was the legendary Zionian Salt. Ksenia considered the appearance of such distinguished guests there at the wedding to be entirely her own merit. After all, it was her best childhood friend, who was the mother of the second prince present at the celebration. Xenia was then very worried about whether the chef would be able to prepare exquisite Western dishes. At that time, everyone without exception believed that Letitia's matchmakers were going too far. On the other hand, this is the wedding of the only daughter. Only Aster was against the luxurious celebration. Letitia believed that her lover became so sad because, as is well known, when a girl, a wife, comes into the family, the son becomes a stranger. Aster's sister, Olivia Winchester, really wanted Salt to give the opening speech at the wedding. Most of the relatives were against it. If the emperor started speaking, none of the guests would be able to get a word in. But Xenia herself liked the idea of the emperor's speech. Olivia decided to go to the emperor herself and ask him to give a speech. The relatives did not forget to draw Aster's attention to how Olivia was trying to please his young wife. They all told Letitia to learn from Olivia and follow her example. Olivia returned from the emperor, and everyone started asking her if she had been able to come to an agreement. She replied that the emperor would agree only when the heroes of the occasion themselves asked him. Xenia asked Aster to ask His Majesty for a speech himself. Aster didn't understand at all why he was doing this, and why they needed the handsome emperor's wedding speech. Then the cheerful and good-natured Letitia began to ask her young husband to go to the emperor together and beg him to congratulate them at the celebration. Her main argument was that the emperor's speech would raise the reputation of the Winchester family. There was such a pleading look in her incredibly beautiful eyes that Aster could not resist and agreed. When they approached the emperor together, he asked the prince sitting next to him who it was. Letitia and Aster bowed and introduced themselves to His Majesty solely. The emperor laughed at them, surprised that the family was so persistent in their requests. Aster also believed that the congratulations that Sol would say would save the family from poverty. Despite the fact that Sol did not even bother to remember the names of the newlyweds, he agreed to congratulate them. But suddenly, the emperor angrily declared to Aster that he had no desire to bless his young family with good fortune. Aster was beside himself with rage. The emperor lounged on the sofa and thought. He was angry too. Aster had already managed to regret that he had decided to turn to the emperor. Having apologized, he headed for the exit, but Letitia held him by his cloak. The young husband was angry. He started shouting at Letitia, reminding her that he had not wanted to go to the emperor in the first place. The young wife also regretted that she had gotten involved in a matter that even the more experienced Olivia could not handle. At this time, the emperor watched from the side as the angry groom left his bride alone, right at the wedding. Despite her own resentment, Letitia found the strength to apologize to the blonde, handsome man. The young prince, a friend of the emperor, began to calm the girl down. Suddenly, the emperor raised his hand and ordered the girl to stop. It seemed like the handsome man wanted to say something to the girl. Confused, Letitia stopped and immediately heard the emperor order her to leave. She looked at him uncomprehendingly, as she did not understand the meaning of this phrase. The emperor explained that he wanted Letitia to leave that idiot Aster as soon as possible. He claimed that she could never be happy with such an egoist. He turned around with the girl began to slowly move away from her lover. The blonde, seeing her off with his eyes, noticed that she was a fool. Taking her hand, the handsome man noticed that the girl did not listen to him. The guy noticed that most likely the girl loved him so much. The blonde threw in the ring and asked the girl to remember what she received in response to this love. The girl noticed that it was as if water had been added to the glass of poison. The blonde wondered if he would really help her take revenge. The handsome man grinned in the affirmative. With determination in her eyes, the girl said that she agreed to his proposal. Sionian reminded her that they had made a deal. The blonde ordered the girl to kiss his foot. The guy explained that in his sacred state of Westeros, there was a custom according to which one had to touch the feet of someone from the royal family with one's lips. The handsome man explained that by doing this, she would receive a blessing and that this would mean submission and a testament to her life. The girl looked at the guy standing next to her and realized that she had already heard about this. House of State, the royal ancestor, was the demigod of Westeros. The demigod received special oaths from his subjects. Because of this custom became a tradition of the royal family. He explained to me that as soon as the girl was repaired by him, she would never be able to return to her body. Having squeezed the shirt, The girl decided that this was even for the best. Letitia realized that she was stupid because she endured the contempt of her treacherous mistress until her death. The blonde dedicated all of her family's property to her cheating husband. For the blonde who had lost her loving father, this was a chance to get rid of the stigma. Looking at Zionian with eyes of hope, she asked if he would definitely fulfill his promise. The guy reminded that from now on, the girl should bow to him as if he was a family member and completely obey. The blonde closed her eyes as if accepting this fate. The magic signs on this handsome man's hands began to give off a cold white light in the night darkness. Zionian wondered if the girl was worried. Drops of cold sweat ran down the girl's face from the tension. The blonde explained that she was a little worried about her appearance. Letitia looked at herself in the mirror with admiration. The girl suggested that even her parents would not recognize her. Now Letitia's hair color was exactly the same as Aster's. The brunette felt her face and knew that its features had become clearer, and its eyes were much sharper than before. The girl was surprised that Sionian was able to change her face so much just by touching it. The gentleman asked the guy in black if he thought it was a good job. Smiling, he explained that the lady seemed to have stepped out of a painting. Sionian ordered them to complete the image. The guy in black asked Letitia to follow him. The brunette bowed and thanked the wizard. Sionian explained that he did not need gratitude. The blonde explained that he wanted the girl to be useful. The guy explained that she had to go out of her way so that he wouldn't leave her. The guy gently straightened her black hair. Wiping his blonde hands, the guy in black explained that he had no idea that the girl was an old acquaintance of His Majesty. Letitia explained that they were not that close. He explained that now they were in the same boat, and now it was difficult to call them strangers. Putting on the last lapis lazuli decoration, he informed the lady that everything was ready. The blonde explained that he would tell her about her duties. The guy explained that now the girl will live as Anna Rose Victoire. The girl will be the Countess of the Principality of Kant in the highest circles of this state. The servant said that the girl would have to learn everything necessary in the state of Kant over the course of a year. The brunette wondered if she would really have to go there. The guy explained that she would have to independently adopt the culture, manner of speech, and behavior of local girls. The Principality of Kant was a country in which a girl could become a countess or a marquise only if she had enough abilities. In Northland, girls cannot inherit the throne due to ingrained traditions. Therefore, Letitia was unable to receive the title, even being the only legal newborn child. The brunette liked that she became a resident of Kant, which she envied so much. The girl, hesitating a bit, explained that she had never been there. Letitia said that she had never been anywhere outside of Northland. The brunette asked if she could handle it. The servant reassured the girl that in Kant they use the official language of the continent, and that should be enough for her. The girl suggested that there is a special accent there. Patting the girl on the shoulder, the blonde explained that 1 year seemed like a short period of time, and promised that he would help her, that no one would suspect anything. Letitia reassured herself that her new appearance, status, and unlimited help would help her. The girl convinced herself that she had to cope. The guy noticed that she was bleeding again. She assumed that the blood circulation had accelerated due to being in a hot war for a long time. The servant suggested going to His Majesty. Letitia claimed that she was fine. A slight blush appeared on the girl's cheeks. The blonde asked the girl not to be stubborn. The guy claimed that His Majesty made everyone feel embarrassed. The blonde claimed that if she got to know Zionian better, she would feel more comfortable. The girl asked the guy what he meant. The servant explained that he meant that she shouldn't adjust to his mood or try to please him. The blonde said that the master only cares about the benefit. The guy said that His Majesty does not evaluate people for personal reasons. The servant asked the girl not to worry. Letitia stood in front of the door, wondering if it was really that comfortable. Sionian asked what had happened. The brunette said that her wound was bleeding again. Embarrassed, the girl explained that she did not want to bother the gentleman, but Langaro insisted that she go. Sionian leaned on one of the columns, opened the door, and ordered the girl to pass through. The blonde man gently placed his hand on the girl's shoulder. Letitia asked why her wound had not yet healed. The gentleman suggested that it had not been done with a knife. With a heavy sigh, the handsome man explained that it was not because he lacked ability. Putting her hand on the wound, the girl explained that thanks to him, she felt much better. The brunette thanked the guy. The blonde explained that a proper owner must take care of a horse. The guy gently ran his hand through the silky hair. Letitia realized that he was stroking her head like a dog. The brunette realized that she hadn't been stroked like this for a long time. The gentleman asked if she was still nostalgic for the past. Letitia explained that she did not leave her life in the past by her own choice. She claimed that her past was taken away and trampled. Looking at the girl with disapproval, Seonian asked how she got involved in this. The blonde noticed that she did not look like a touchy person. Letitia suggested that it was so easy in the game that you wanted to hurt her at least once. Gently stroking the girl's hand, the handsome man asked why the girls in Northland were so attached to their husbands. Seonian recalled that earlier in that state, there was a tradition of burying girls alive along with their husbands. Lowering her eyes, the brunette explained that now everything was not so serious. Letitia shared that her state was conservative. The gentleman asked if this was really why her husband could easily cheat on her. Staring at the floor, the girl explained that men's actions are not ignored, but are not considered so shameful. The brunette explained that she had the feeling that everyone was silent if the betrayal did not interfere with the family tree or status. Letitia sadly recalled how her husband dishonestly made out with his mistress. The blonde asked what the girls were allowed to do. Seonian asked what would happen to a girl if she cheated on her husband. The brunette said that if a married woman in Northland cheated, she would be immediately returned to her parents. The girl said that in addition to the distribution of property, the traitor would have to pay a huge compensation to her husband's family. Their children could be at risk of being unable to inherit. Seonian noticed that the rules were only for girls. She wondered why he was asking about that. Leaning over the girl, the guy explained that he wanted to commit this offense. Letitia couldn't wrap her head around what she had just heard. Stroking the girl's face, the blonde reminded her that she had been banished before the betrayal. His hand gradually descended to the cleavage area. Seonian explained that the girl did not need to be paid compensation because she had already died. The guy reminded that the girl had no children who would not be able to inherit. Gently biting the girl on the shoulder, the blonde suggested that this would sound very strange. Gently pressing the girl to himself by the waist, he assumed that he was quite suitable for this role. Tears welled up in the eyes of the sapphire light. The brunette asked what the benefit was that the gentleman was talking about. The girl is used to being constantly used as a tool. Letitia has been a toy for anger management in the Winchester household all her life. Thanks to her, they earned good money. But she was slender like a doll, a wife for Astor. Even after being reborn again, the girl decided not to change anything. Hickeys and bluish bite marks appeared on fragile shoulders. Letitia realized that the chance given to her was this. The girl pushed the blonde in his luxurious torso and explained to him that she needed to go back to her room. The brunette quickly headed for the exit. Langaro asked the gentleman if they had to torture the girl like that. The guy asked the blonde to have mercy on the brunette because she was unhappy. Seonian explained that the girl was to blame for running away without listening to him to the end. The guy asked what people were offering to pretend to be lovers. The blonde noticed that the girl had misunderstood the gentleman. Seonian ordered a servant to help him sort out his things. Langaro asked if the master remembered that he was the son of the Chancellor of Westeros. Seonian asked the blonde man if he remembered who he was. The gentleman asked the boy to be silent. The boy with the monocle bowed his head obediently and remembered that the gentleman was not just a prince, but salt. Langaro carefully adjusted the gentleman's jewelry in a ringing silence. The blonde assumed that the blue-eyed gentleman was worried about his harsh statement. Langaro suggested going and resolving their misunderstanding. He suggested that such a construction in the master's plan should not fail. Moonlight flooded the girl's room. Covered with a warm blanket, the girl twitched nervously in her sleep. Cold sweat ran down the brunette's cheeks, and her teeth were clenched tightly. In her dream, the girl was running across a field. Her silhouette was illuminated only by the dim moonlight. The blonde heard a familiar voice that ordered her to come there. With tears in her eyes, she turned around and saw her husband's mistress with a huge sword in her hands. With a creepy grin, the girl explained that it was useless for her to run away. The hem of her white dress was covered in dirt and many holes. The creepy girl suggested that Letitia also wanted peace. Our heroine stumbled, hitting her face in the dirt. The question was in her ears. Was the blonde really lacking sincerity? A multitude of insults rained down on the girl, betraying her to those terrible memories. Many hands were reaching out to Letitia. The blonde tried to run away in panic, begging at least someone to help her. The brunette grabbed her hand abruptly. The girl was surprised to see Aster and begged him to help. The man let go of her hand, and a sharp sword pierced her heart. Pressing his nose to the girl's nose, the ex-husband said that no one would save her. Bloody tears gushed from his sapphire eyes. Breathing heavily and covered in cold sweat, the girl jumped out of bed. The brunette slowly walked towards the table with a variety of different alcoholic drinks. Letitia took one of those bottles of wine. The girl uncorked this bottle, realizing that she couldn't bear the nightmares sober. Approaching silently in the darkness, Sionian asked what the brunette was doing here at such a late hour. The girl, shaking, began to cough and, having finished the burgundy wine, insisted that she had used it as a sedative. The gentleman snatched the bottle from her hands and explained to her that drinking alcohol with an unhealed wound was a bad idea. "Look down!" Letitia told everything. She claimed that she couldn't sleep because of the pain in her chest. The blonde explained to her that in that case, it was worth coming to him. The guy asked if the girl really didn't know why there were no painkillers on their ships. Pressing her hand to the wound, the girl asked again with a shudder. Sionian tore her dress and saw the bleeding wound. Scarlet blood covered the snow-white bandage. The blonde explained that it was all the consequences of the alcohol he had drunk. Touching her chest, Sionian used magic. Light filled the room, slowly healing the brunette. The girl trembled and touched the hand with the magic symbol. Letitia lowered her eyes and apologized for causing Mr. Discomfort. Blue eyes flashed in the darkness of the night. The guy looked at the girl with disdain and repeated her words. Letitia bowed her head and stood with her hands folded, looking guilty. Having comfortably sat down on the sofa, the blonde assured that he was disappointed with the girl, that she still did not understand him. Sionian invited the girl to sit next to him. "Mosait." The guy explained that they still had an unfinished conversation. The blonde noticed that the girl couldn't even control her body after drinking alcohol. The girl, clutching the hem of her dress tightly, bashfully blurted out words of apology. The gentleman asked if he really couldn't even joke with her. Cold sweat appeared on the brunette's face. She cast a puzzled glance at the blonde. With a trembling voice, the girl asked him again if it was really such a joke. Sionian explained that the offer to change was just one of the ways to take revenge on her ex-husband. The blonde explained that if she lived in Kant for a year, then Northland was quite difficult for girls to live in. The guy suggested that his authority might be useful to her. Sionian explained that if he had simply wanted to use the brunette as a tool to satisfy his needs, he would not have even offered her a deal in the first place. The room was filled with light, and a dead silence reigned. Letitia felt rather awkward. The brunette realized that such a man could not want her, and she simply misunderstood him. Looking down, the beauty explained that she had misinterpreted his words. The brunette explained that she had shown her emotionality in vain and now felt guilty. Letitia caught the surprised look of the gentleman. Looking at her thoughtfully, Sionian replied that he had already explained his actions. The blonde reminded him that he still hadn't received an apology for the girl's actions. The brunette nervously crossed her arms over her chest and asked what she had to do to make him forgive her. The boy asked to kiss his lips that blessed her fate. Sionian gently touched his lips with his finger. The blonde noted that only after kissing the girl would he accept her apology. Letitia froze, and a slight bashful blush appeared on her cheeks. She lowered her eyes shyly, trying not to show her emotions. The blonde reminded her that the girl had said that she was ready to do anything for the sake of revenge. The gentleman asked if these were just empty words. Letitia answered in the negative. The girl assumed that the gentleman was testing how suitable she was for the role of his mistress. The brunette understood that all this was not real. Putting her hand on the man's massive shoulder, Letitia asked if the gentleman could close his eyes. The crimson blush did not disappear from her. The blonde grinned and noticed that she was acting like a virgin. Letitia closed her eyes and apologized. She kissed his neck tenderly. Sionian explained that his lips were slightly higher. After a passionate kiss, the blonde asked if she did it on purpose. The guy pressed the brunette to himself by the waist. The girl made excuses that she hadn't done it for a long time. Letitia asked if she should try again. Looking down, the gentleman explained that she shouldn't do it. The blonde explained to the girl that he could consider himself forgiven. Sionian ordered the brunette to return to her room. Drops of cold sweat quickly ran down her face. The girl realized that this was definitely a test. Bowing, Letitia wished the gentleman good night. Turning around, the girl successfully headed towards the door. Unbuttoning his snow-white shirt, the blonde exposed his luxurious torso. He noticed that the room had become quite hot. Looking down, Zionian wondered why his body was burning all over. The servant informed His Highness that they had been contacted from the royal palace. After looking at the gentleman, the blonde explained that he would later ask for compensation for the psychological damage caused to him. The blonde ordered Langaro to leave. The rays of the rising sun were breaking through the windows. Bright light and some noise from outside woke our heroine. The girl heard fragments of phrases. Letitia came out of her cabin and asked why it was so noisy outside. The gray-haired man was talking to Mr. Langaro. The blonde asked the lady how you slept. After the words of gratitude, the brunette asked what had happened. The man explained that nothing of the sort had happened. He asked the girl not to worry. Looking away, the blonde sarcastically explained that they were simply having engine trouble. Surprised, Letitia asked if the repair would take long. With a heavy sigh, the guy shared that the repair would take more than a couple of hours. Langaro suggested that the girls should be in the cabin all the time. The brunette was surprised by such a statement. The blonde man suggested the girl to go for a walk, since the weather was beautiful that day. The gentleman reminded Letitia that she would not be able to return to Northland for a year. The blonde suggested the girl go and say goodbye. A moment later, the girl's gaze drooped. The brunette had no one to go say goodbye to. The girl remembered that they had forced her to start a new life, tearing her away from the past. The blonde offered to go for a walk with him because he had recently seen several beautiful dresses at the market. Langaro suggested that brunettes would be suitable. The girl's gaze froze. The sun's rays created beautiful glare in her eyes. The blonde asked the girl to wait a little and promised to bring new clothes. Letitia looked closely at her face. She could not believe that it was her own reflection. Although the girl was beautiful before the transformation, Langaro asked the brunette what she was thinking about. Embarrassed, the girl assumed that it would sound impudent. The brunette said that in her opinion, Mr. Zion was very handsome. The blonde explained that his appearance was not His Majesty's greatest asset. The girl asked if the gentleman used his strength to achieve such an attractive appearance. Laughing hysterically, the blonde asked the lady how she came up with that idea. The guy noticed that she hadn't laughed like that for a long time. Without stopping laughing, Langaro explained that the gentleman had been like that since birth. Letitia's face turned crimson. The gentleman suggested moving from jokes to dressing up. The servants dressed the girl in a new outfit, emphasizing her waist with a black belt. The blonde noticed that the lady looked very beautiful in this outfit. The girl thanked him for the compliment. Langaro explained it. Mike said that he only voiced this fact. The blonde asked if Letitia knew her way around the port. The girl giggled and said yes, explaining that it was her homeland. The events take us to the port of Northland. As soon as the girl got off the ship, memories came flooding back. The brunette often came here with her dad for his work. Letitia used to live nearby. Langaro said he had heard that there were often incidents in this port. The guy said that security would be provided to them just in case. And as a guard was Alexa Wolf. She had a reputation as the swift sword of Westeros. Letitia was surprised that this reputation was given to a girl. The brunette had always thought that a guy was behind it. Letitia introduced herself with her real name with a smile and assured that it was a pleasure to meet you. Taking a deep breath, Fanine explained to the lady that this was not the case at all. Realizing her mistake, the brunette introduced herself as Anna Rose Victoire. Kissing his hand, the defender said that she represented Countess Victoire. Looking from the side at the means of transport with a smile and surprise, the brunette realized that she had sailed here on such a luxurious liner. Alexa said that the ship was the pride of Westeros and belonged to the Platinum Celestia. The girl became very nervous and heard a painfully familiar voice. The girl noticed that the vessel was stupidly huge. The blonde explained that only heartless bourgeois would choose such a vessel. Cold sweat slowly trickled down her face. The brunette recognized Olivia and Clarice in these girls. The aristocrats believed that all ships should be like theirs. Clarice asked if her friend thought that there was nothing superfluous in their cozy ferry. Letitia placed her hand on the wound that had not yet healed. The brunette realized that she had not even noticed that Astor's private ship was right next to her. The girl explained to her mother that their business was going uphill. Olivia suggested changing the ship because theirs was already too small. She explained that their family should travel on the appropriate ship. Sighing, the woman explained that her daughter was right. The former family had discussed the need to collect Letitia's death benefit. Horror washed over the brunette again. Olivia explained that Letitia was of no use when she was alive. The girl noted that she remained useless even after her death. Turning around to these conversations, the brunette explained that this was all because Astor was too kind. The woman asked how the guy could think that his ex-wife died because of him and refused the money. Olivia noted that only Xenia did a good deed for them. Clarice asked her daughter if she had spoken to Leonka. Olivia explained that she was a good conversationalist. The girl said that she was the only heir of the Snow Wither family. The girl with blue hair asked if Lenika was the only survivor of the terrible fire. Clarice assumed that she would bring a large dowry to the wedding. Smiling, "Need seeing," the woman explained that she was looking forward to it. Clarice guessed that she would definitely try harder than Letitia. After listening to this conversation, Bryanke's eyes narrowed in anger. The girl was amazed that she had died so recently, and they were already talking about such things. Soon, Olivia's gaze fell on the brunette. The girl didn't even have time to blurt out, "Oh." The ex-husband's sister suggested that, judging by her outfit, the brunette had arrived from abroad. Olivia asked Anna from which continent she had arrived. The girl explained that she had not seen visitors on their lands for a long time. The brunette froze in a stupor, while her face was covered in cold sweat. The girl asked our heroine if she didn't know the native language of Northland. Olivia asked if the brunette didn't know the common language of the continents. Letitia realized that she had to say something. But unfortunately, the brunette's voice did not obey her at all. Alexa suggested that the lady look at the foreign port, since it would soon be time for them to return. The swordswoman offered the brunette to take her. Olivia and Clarice watched the girl with disdainful glances. Entering the cafe, Alexa explained that she felt some kind of cold. The living room was filled with bright sunlight. The girls were chatting, sitting at a small table. The swordswoman assumed that the lady was familiar with the girls. The girl asked the lady if this was true. Letitia answered affirmatively and explained that those women were her mother-in-law and sister-in-law. The swordswoman reminded that the brunette wanted to say that the women were them. The lady thanked her for helping resolve the situation. Alexa explained that there was nothing to thank her for, since she did everything for Mr. Zion. The maid served the lady a drink and a pie. The maid asked the brunette to eat at least a little. The swordswoman explained that weight loss and obesity greatly change people's appearance. She explained to the lady that sometimes such people even become unrecognizable. Smiling, the brunette promised to eat a little. The wooden door creaked open. Letitia froze and turned around to hear a familiar voice. The man was surprised that she was there. Astor noted that she did not know that she would hide in such a place. Trembling all over, the girl dropped the cutlery from her hands when she heard Astor's voice. Alexa asked what had happened. The brunette, shaking all over, explained that it was her ex-husband. The swordswoman asked the lady to calm down, claiming that he would not be able to recognize her. The pink-haired girl claimed that Letitia would look suspicious if she was confused. The brunette heard fragments of phrases and realized that they were not addressed to her. The blonde apologized for making Astor look for him. The guy explained that he really missed the delicious food here. The blonde man's name was Viscount Bryson. The Viscount was present at her wedding as a close friend of Astor. The brunette sighed with relief and realized that no one recognized her. The brunette noticed that his friend was talking to him. Astor wondered if the blonde would really say what he usually said. The swordswoman asked the lady if she had come to her senses. The lady assured that she felt a little better. Alexa suggested that the brunette quietly leave here. The Viscount slammed the table hard and asked if the brunette was serious. The blonde was furious that his friend was saying that his wife's death was something positive. Gritting his teeth, our heroine's ex-husband explained that the girl had nowhere to go after the divorce. The brunette explained that it was unlikely that she would be able to marry again, since it was difficult for her to get pregnant. The Viscount asked if the brunette had really decided to divorce her. Knowing this, the widower muttered that he was not involved in charity. The brunette explained that he thought only of her as his ex-wife. Astor explained that his wife knew what a serious relationship he was in with Lianka, but she did not back down. The widower explained that his ex-wife simply sat and desperately waited for him to return to her. The brunette shared that the girl jumped into the river to make him feel guilty. The guy said that he did not even want to take the allowance because he did not want to seem impudent. Astor explained that his future with Lanika did not require blood money. A shudder ran through our heroine's body again. Alexa turned to Milady to bring her out of her trance. The brunette was sure that Astor refused the money because of guilt. Hot tears slowly flowed down the girl's cheeks. The brunette understood that Astor had betrayed her to the very end. The brunette explained that if his lover had committed suicide because of a divorce, then that was what was supposed to happen. Astor explained to his friend that he felt sorry for wasting time remembering a suicide. Getting up from the table, Alexa suggested that the lady leave here as soon as possible. The Viscount asked if everything was all right with the brunette. The swordswoman explained that there was nothing wrong with her and asked the guys to continue their dialogue. The blonde said that in Northland, it is considered bad manners to help crying girls. The Viscount asked to contact him if he could be of any help. Alexa, angry, began to insist that everything was fine. Entering the door, the blonde apologized for being late. He slowly approached the girl and pretended that she was crying because he had left her for so long. The handsome man asked what he should do. The tears gradually stopped flowing. A glimmer of hope appeared in the brunette's eyes. Alexa decided to play along and asked why he was making his mistress cry by coming so late. The blonde hugged the crying girl tightly. A crimson blush appeared on Letitia's face. The girl with pink hair noted that the brunette had been waiting for her lover for a long time. Zion apologized, tightly hugging the fragile body. The guy promised the brunette that he would not make her wait for him for so long in the future. The blonde promised the girl to buy everything she wanted. Zion suggested that she leave here. The girl was walking along the embankment with the blonde. Zion asked the brunette why she was crying again. The guy assumed that Letitia still loved him. Tears were still streaming down her beautiful face. The brunette claimed that she didn't love him anymore. Sky blue eyes pierced the girl. Zion noticed that she was lying. Letitia sighed heavily and assured that she was honest. The brunette said that these dead feelings were like cut stems from which juice flows for some time. Hot drops flowed down the girl's face. She realized that she showed her emotions only because of her ex-husband. Letitia was afraid that the gentleman would think how pathetic she was. The blonde asked why she was starting to cry again, like before. The guy gently lifted her face and looked into her amethyst eyes. Sionian was surprised that the brunette didn't even hide it. The blonde explained that if he were in the girl's place, he would have bitten his tongue so as not to show weakness. The guy noticed that the girl needed to learn a lesson. Letitia asked what lesson he was talking about. The blonde walked calmly towards the arriving carriage. The boy explained that he wanted to show her something. Zion asked her to follow him. The girl, with tear-stained eyes, pressed her hand to herself. The last rays of the setting sun were disappearing, plunging the city into darkness. The carriage drove up to one of the cemeteries. It was completely dark outside. The brunette hesitated, looking at the setting sun and the cemetery landscape. Zionian gritted his teeth and asked if she understood where they were now. The girl hesitated and nodded her head. Letitia understood that this was the Winchester family cemetery. The brunette asked why they had come here. Langara helped the girl out of the carriage. The gentleman walked towards the cemetery with a confident step. His cloak fluttered in the light wind. The brunette's gaze darted between the gentleman and Langara. The company entered the cemetery in deathly silence. At one point, the blonde stopped. The gentleman asked the brunette to read who this grave belonged to. Zion ordered the girl to do it quickly. Letitia looked at the monument and saw her initials. The blonde asked Langaro what funeral traditions there were in Northland. The guy said that one of the pages was to bury things that the deceased liked in the tomb. He said that they also buried favorite flowers, a dress, a family photo. The guy explained that toys or something valuable to the deceased would also be placed in the grave. The brunette took the wilted daisies from her grave. Tears began to well up on the girl's face again. Sionian asked the girl if she was interested in what was in her tomb. Looking at the withered daisies, she explained to His Majesty that she did not want to know this. The gentleman recalled that she had said that she needed to realize it. The two men snapped their fingers and began digging the grave. Soon the coffin began to appear. The man was not at all surprised that the coffin was made of cheap material. Turning to the servants, the gentleman ordered them to open it. Soon the tip of the bandit's shovels crashed into the lid of the coffin. A ringing silence hung over the cemetery. Letitia was shocked and felt like she was going to vomit. The gentleman asked if this was too much. The entire coffin was filled with trash. Wiping the sweat off his hand, Langar noted that it was cruel. The blonde noted that the girl's relatives had gone overboard in filling it with trash. Touching the brunette on the shoulder, Sionian reminded her that in Northland, it was common to put something in a coffin that was associated with the deceased. The blonde asked people to look at it. The guy asked if she still missed the past. The brunette looked at the trash bags illuminated by the moonlight with horror. Letitia's eyes quickly began to darken. A moment later, the brunette fell unconscious. Catching the girl in his arms, the blonde noticed how weak she was. Langaro explained that it was truly shocking, and he scolded the gentleman for showing her this on purpose. The blonde explained that such a stupid girl would not have understood anything without such confirmation. Sionian explained that their revenge would not be an easy matter, and he responded by noting that the gentleman's methods had always been effective. Langaro explained that the problem was that the gentleman knew no bounds. The blonde asked Zionian to apologize to the lady when she woke up. The guy explained that he would suffer from a long nightmare. The girl woke up in a room flooded with light. Opening her eyes, the girl realized that this was His Highness's cabin, and Letitia understood that they had to go back. The gentleman ordered her to lie down. The blonde explained that her temperature had not yet gone down. Sionian assumed it was most likely due to the shock she had received. Lowering her amethyst eyes, she asked what she had done wrong. The brunette said she wanted to do everything she could because she loved her ex-husband. Letitia shared that she did not want to appear a coward in front of people. The brunette said that no one knew about it, but she tried hard. The girl wondered if these feelings were really that bad that they insulted her until her death. The blonde reassured her that it wasn't her fault. Sionian explained that the girl had done her best and had gotten caught in the trap of her emotions by simply choosing the wrong partner. The brunette explained to His Majesty that she knew this. Sionian asked if even after this, Letitia really wanted to give away her feelings. The girl said that she intended to do it in such a way that if her ex-husband was feeling bad, she would sacrifice her life and come running. Letitia wanted to believe it, even if it turned out to be a lie. The brunette was sure that it was better for her to believe and be deceived than to regret not believing. The girl admitted that if she could, she would kill herself just like Lianka did to her. The girl felt that her existence was a mistake. The brunette thought that it would have been better if she had never been born. The gentleman realized that this time Lianka was right because the girl's body and soul were being destroyed. The blonde suggested that the shock therapy had been too much. The boy felt that it had completely destroyed the cracks that were already there. Zion decided to take responsibility and make sure the soul did not break. The blonde realized that the girl was like a deer that could not become a wolf, and a sheep could not become a tiger. The gentleman explained to the girl that she was born the way she was. The boy gently stroked Letitia's tender face. The boy hoped that such touches would be able to smooth out the girl's wounds. Wiping away her tears, the prince claimed that it was not her fault. Gently tucking her hair behind her ear, Sionian explained to the brunette that she had done everything she could and had fallen into the trap of her emotions simply by choosing the wrong partner. Kissing the girl on the forehead, the blonde explained that she was not obliged to take responsibility for this. The gentleman explained that only the girl's ex-husband, who did not accept her love, and his mistress, who took her place, were wrong. Zion laid the girl on the bed and explained to her that they were the ones to bear the blame. The guy asked Letitia not to take responsibility for the sadness she felt because of them. The blonde guy hovered over her, looking into her amethyst eyes. He claimed that the girl did everything in her power and was confident in her feelings. The guy asked the brunette to hold herself with dignity. She closed her eyes and wiped away the remaining tears. Smiling, the blonde noticed that she had finally stopped crying. The guy asked if she was still so sad that she wanted to die. The girl stuttered with uncertainty and replied that she was no longer in such pain. The prince noticed that the situation still affected her. Gently running his finger over her lips, the blonde explained that he could do some things that were not part of his duties as a salt, but simply as a man. Clutching the snow-white shirt, she asked if her internal pain would stop after this. Gently kissing the girl, the blonde answered her in the affirmative. There was still some sadness in the heroine's amethyst eyes. He kissed her neck tenderly, and he promised that she wouldn't even think about her ex-husband. Astor Winchester was everything to Letitia, but she was nothing to him. The brunette always felt unworthy next to him. The girl was depressed and hated herself every time. Letitia was sure that she should hate him, because it was because of him that she became like this. The girl now probably saw something that she should truly regret. The blonde gently squeezed her hand and pressed her to the bed. And Letitia now realized that she had to love herself. The girl's cheeks turned red while the blonde asked her to look only at him. The brunette realized that she had to make every effort for the one who cared for her. The prince gently pressed her to himself, kissing her on the lips. Getting out of bed, the brunette thanked the gentleman for the previous night. The girl promised to try to make sure that this never happened again. His light hair fell on his luxurious torso. His blue eyes were calm as always. Letitia explained that she felt completely worthless now. The girl promised that one day she would become a useful tool for the blonde. The brunette asked the man not to throw her away. The prince explained that he began to hate Letitia Violet as soon as she did this. Smiling, the prince explained that he hoped Anna Rose Victoire would like her. The prince informed her that she would have a tough schedule upon arrival in Kant. The gentleman explained that Angara was to take care of the girl's comfort. The prince asked if he could please her one more time before leaving, and asked her to tell him what she wanted now. Pressing the hem of her dress, the girl assumed that she had already received more. Embarrassed, she asked for flowers. Zion put on a snow-white shirt. The guy asked her again if she really wanted flowers. Embarrassed, Letitia asked for at least one flower. The prince asked why the girl wanted them. Smiling, the brunette explained that her friend said that after the first night with her lover, she received a bouquet of flowers. Letitia explained that at that moment she was very jealous of her because she had never received flowers. Smiling, the girl explained that it was time for her to go. The blonde followed her with his eyes. The guy turned around and saw a flower merchant. Zion was surprised that they were just flowers. Bright rays of sunlight flickered on the water. Letitia looked at the decorations and desserts. Alexa asked the lady if she enjoyed the walk around the port of Kant. She said that she really enjoyed walking, not noticing the pain in her legs. Taking a deep breath, the swordswoman was surprised that she hadn't noticed it. The brunette asked her not to worry because she was very interested. Smiling, the swordswoman asked the lady to quickly go and rest. Letitia noticed that the girl had worked hard and asked to rest here too. When Letitia opened the door to the room, the scent of flowers filled her lungs. Her room was strewn with many roses and looked more like a greenhouse. Letitia froze, remembering the request to give her at least one flower. The brunette looked at the bouquet with tears in her eyes. The girl had never received flowers before. Letitia realized that within the next year, she would return as the perfect Anna Rose for His Majesty. The blonde gave her spring after one request for flowers. Time treated fairly both those who inflicted wounds and those who received them. Anna Rose had been in the country for a year already. The girl was interested in whether he was living well. The prince had never contacted her during all this time. The red-haired guy asked what she was thinking about. The girl asked what he thought a dependent might be thinking. Edgar asked her not to say such a thing. The marquise explained that the girl was very important to their family. The Baudrin were a family of marquises known for their wine production. They became the founders of part of the special traditions and culture of the state of Kant. The marquises cooperated with Sionian and also confirmed the identity of Anne Rose Victoire. She assured them that it was very kind of them. The guy said that he heard that it was time for the brunette to return to Northland. Edgar reminded the girl that she needed to take care of her business there. Raising a mug of tea, the girl explained that this would allow her to become Anna Rose Victoire. Edgar said that he was very worried because the girl might get caught in the rain if she left the place. The Marquis was worried that the girl would force herself to smile with sad eyes, as she had the first time here. Anna thanked him for his concern and explained that she had changed a lot over the past year. The Marquis, greatly embarrassed, suggested that this would be a strange request. Edgar asked if the girl might reconsider her decision regarding her departure. Entering the room, the red-haired girl asked the guy what he was mumbling. Marie asked why her brother was asking if he knew that the request was strange. The girl asked when the words about rain were. Marie asked Anna why she was listening to this nonsense. The red-haired girl joked that she could call herself a girl from Kant after that. Laughing, she asked for forgiveness. The marquise asked what she was apologizing for. The brunette explained that in Kant there is a saying, "Lower the sails from the beginning when it rains." The girl explained that it perfectly showed how she had wasted her valuable time. After applauding, Marie remarked that it was perfect. The girl hugged Anna, noting that no one would mistake her for a foreigner. Smiling, the brunette explained that it was all thanks to the wonderful mentors. Smiling, the marquise noticed that the girl was flattering her. The brunette replied that she was not flattering at all, since teaching people was a difficult job. The girl explained that she was grateful to her for teaching her. Kissing the brunette on the cheek, Marie noticed how much prettier she had become. Embarrassed, the marquise explained that she had studied hard, so she deserved a reward. The girl with red hair handed our heroine an envelope. She explained that it was her new ID. Amethyst eyes sparkled, because from that moment on, Countess Victoire became a relative of the marquise's. Smiling, the marquise congratulated her new sister. The countess hugged Marie tightly and thanked her sincerely. The girl noticed that the brunette remained an emotional child. Marie explained that the boy could go out. Anna was incredibly happy to see Langaro again. Smiling, the blonde noted that he hadn't seen the lady here for a long time. The guy noticed that she began to look much better. Langaro noted that it was a good decision to hand the brunette over to the Bourdonna's care. The brunette was incredibly happy that the gentleman had not forgotten about her. Anna asked if they were getting along well. The blonde reported that they were busy working with His Highness Zionian, as always. The girl asked what he was doing there. Letitia wondered if they had come to pick her up at the end of the year. Smiling, the blonde explained that he was there to check on the girl. Langaro handed the girl an envelope with a wax seal. The blonde reminded the girl that she had been studying all this time. The guy said that she was praised in every report. The marquises laughed awkwardly. Angaru asked the girl to look. Anna had no idea that the letter was an invitation to tea. Marie explained that it was the Sullivan princes. They held a grand tea ceremony every year at the beginning of summer and invited mainly families from Kant. Langaro explained to the girl that there was no better chance for a native of Kant to become a person. He explained that the girl would be able to make herself known to many families from the upper circles. The brunette immediately realized that this would be like a test. The guy asked her to make sure that during the tea party, no one would find out that she was a foreigner. He explained that this was an order. Letitia asked if she was sure she had the wrong green. Marie explained that it was too dark for the day. The girl noticed that blue suited her sister, but this time it would be better to take that. Marie remembered that today would be the brunette's first appearance in public. Smiling, she asked what she was saying. Marie reminded the girl that it was indeed her first time out in public. The sister asked Rose to be confident and lightly patted her on the back, hinting that she should not slouch and straighten her shoulders. The red-haired girl reminded her that she knew the theories very well, thanks to her hard work, and would not make a mistake if she took matters into her own hands. The red-haired girl asked her sister if she knew what her biggest problem was. Anna, puzzled, asked what she was talking about. The sister explained that the girl was too modest, and the girls from Kant were not like that at all. The brunette looked in the mirror and put on a soft pink dress. Marie explained that everyone has their own shortcomings. The sister explained to the girl that it is not at all necessary to be perfect in order to gain self-confidence. The girl with red hair explained that it would be enough to try a little to make her more confident. The brunette looked at her reflection in the mirror with admiration. Marie explained to her sister that they had done wrong. The sister explained to Anya that she had not committed any crime after all. Letitia thanked him and explained that she had a crime such as identity falsification and document forgery. The girl noticed that her life as Anna Rose Victoire began with breaking the law. Marie wondered if her sister would not wear this dress. The brunette explained that she would, since the marquise had chosen it for her. The red-haired girl suggested that the gems could be blue. Marie suggested meeting in the hall in the morning. Without hiding her joy, the brunette asked if the marquise was going there too. Laughing, the marquise explained that she had received the invitation to tea first. Letitia realized how good the marquise was, since she could send her alone. But because of work, they go to her together. Smiling, she thanked Marie. The moon illuminated the girl's room. The brunette realized that a new day had finally arrived. She doubted whether she could cope. Letitia's eyes snapped open. She had been having nightmares about being adopted into the Astor family. The guy's mistress suggested that they had become like one family since they got together like that. The brunette explained to his lover how long he had been waiting for this moment. The girl asked if Letitia would be sad about these words. While sipping wine from a glass, the guy claimed that his wife would only interfere with their happiness. Letitia didn't know when she would be able to get out of this recurring hell. Memories flashed through the girl's mind. When the prince noticed that she was unbearable, the guy noticed at that moment that she began to look better, but was still weak in the morning. Zion then noticed that there was something attractive about the blonde's weakness. At that moment, Letitia noticed that His Majesty smelled of the sun. The man kissed her head and explained that she smelled of tears. At that moment, the girl became curious about what that smell was. Zion explained that the smell was slightly salty and bitter and a little sweet. The blonde noted that the smell was reminiscent of that curtain that had gotten wet from the rain, caressing it in his hands. The girl assured that she really felt much better. Letitia admitted that she still had a hard time before and after sleep. The blonde explained that she didn't know when it would end. The prince promised to put her to bed that day and lifted the girl into his arms. Zion carried her into the room, remembered by the flowers. With a smile on her face, she thanked him. The girl assured that she would never forget this act. The scent of flowers mixed with the smell of melted wax. Lifting her face and bringing his closer to hers, the man explained that he could give her much more. Laying the fragile body on the bed, the blonde promised to make every effort and kiss her tenderly. Unfortunately for Letitia, it would be just a dream. The horses sold the carriage. Looking out the window, the girl realized that it was simply an amazing dream. At that moment, the girl felt as if her lover had really come to her. The sister asked Rose what she was thinking about. Marie wondered if the brunette was really worried. The brunette explained that she had had a few of these sensations. The sister explained to Rose that she shouldn't worry and that it would be better to follow her example. The girl with red hair asked her sister to do her best to make her proud. Rose promised to try. The carriage drove slowly between the luxurious houses. The black horse's hooves clattered on the cobblestones. Marie informed the girl that they had finally arrived. The door of the elegant carriage opened. Letitia slowly lifted the hem of her dress and walked out of the door. Edgar noticed that the girl looked like a princess, and there were sparkles in her eyes. She explained that the sun was simply shining brightly today. Maria snorted that the sight was ridiculous. Handing the fan to her sister, the girl reminded him that he had never complimented her. The Marquis looked away and asked what his sister was making noise about. Marie grabbed him by the shirt. They started arguing while Rose just watched them. The brunette asked Marie to look there. Marie covered her plump lips with a fan. The girl, with a barely perceptible smile, noticed that the guests were starting to gather. The girls with red hair offered to show people their beautiful little sister. Letitia peeked out from behind her sister and asked who the man was approaching them. The brunette was pleasantly surprised to see the famous Marie Baudrin. The girl bit her fan slightly and asked who the man was, since she didn't know anyone so little known. The man was shocked by such impudence and asked the girl not to pretend. The brunette reminded that they had already crossed paths several times. Covering her face with a fan, she looked at him in surprise. Edgar smiled and noted that they had not seen Count Hayden for quite some time. The Count asked how His Highness Marquis Edgar was doing. Pointing her fan at the brunette, the girl asked how much longer he would continue to create trouble for her behind her back. Marie remembered that the boy's daughter-in-law was a fan of hers. The Marquise noticed that the Count had gone crazy because he had forced his daughter-in-law to follow her. Hayden explained that he had come here first, and Marie had come after him. The Marquise, hiding behind her fan, asked if he had become hers. Hayden asked if she really thought he would do something like that. A girl with short hair and a blue flowered dress ran up to the Marquise. It was the Count's fiancé, Hayden Shallon. The brunette blushed and noticed that Maria looked very beautiful today. The girl said that the Marchioness was even more sparkling than the stones on her dress. The red-haired girl thanked Shallon with a smile. The little girl asked who the Marquise's companion was. The girl said that Countess Anna Rose was her relative. The Marchioness explained that the brunette had been busy with inheritance matters after the recent death of her father, so it was only now that she could introduce the Countess. Bowing, the brunette introduced herself as Anna Rose and assured that it was very nice to meet her. Hayden noticed that her new acquaintance was distinguished by her beauty. The brunette suggested that the girl was so beautiful because she was a relative of Mrs. Marie. Rose, hesitating a little, thanked her. The pink skirt of the dress rustled along the road. The girls whispered, not believing their eyes, that the Countess of the State of Kant was in front of them. The former sister-in-law noticed that they had already crossed paths in Northland. The brunette's eyes widened when she saw Olivia. Hazel shared with her new acquaintance that Olivia was her friend who had arrived from Northland. The girl with green hair introduced herself as Olivia Winchester. Anna Rose tried to calm herself down. She reminded herself that she was no longer Letitia Violette. Anna explained with a smile that she remembered how they met at the port. With shining eyes, Olivia explained that she remembered the girl because she was very beautiful. The guest from Nordland noticed that the girl had not changed a bit. Approaching the guy with red hair, Olivia asked if he was Marquis Edward Borden. The girl said that Shallon had told her that he was supposedly Marie's older brother. With flushed cheeks, Olivia approached the Marquise. The boy replied that if she was a Winchester from Northland, he had heard of her too. Edgard explained that the Winchester's white tea business had recently increased in demand as production in Northland. The guest's face was filled with delight, and she asked if the Marquis knew her brother. The guy assured her that their state was a trading one. The Marquis shared that he himself is interested in the situation of other countries as an entrepreneur. Holding her cheeks, the girl asked how her brother could come up with such an idea. The girl suggested importing white tea from Westeros. A deathly silence fell over the company. The girl now noticed that it was clear from the Marquise's faces that Angara had told them about how she had lived in Northland. Edgar remembered that white tea helped neutralize the hard water problem in Northland. The guy remembered that water purified with white tea was good for the skin. Edgar asked the guest how she learned about the powers of the tea that grew only in Westeros. The Marquise noted that the drink's sour taste had meant that its import had to be stopped in Northland. Hazel explained that white tea was not popular at all. Olivia folded her arms and explained that she was embarrassed to admit it. But when her brother first wanted to start this business, the whole family was against it. The family thought that her brother was crazy to want to take over the tea business, which had already failed. The guest shared that, at that moment, no one stood up for him. Olivia claimed that Astor did it only on his own. A picture of memories flashed before Letitia's eyes. The girl remembered that she supported her ex-husband and even lent him money to help him. The brunette promoted Astor's business, which is why her father, Olivia, noticed that people's destinies can really be amazing. Our heroine was even glad that they didn't remember even after some time. Smiling, the guest explained that she didn't think they would be able to meet again. The girl with green hair explained that she really hoped that they would get along. The brunette was unaccustomed to hearing such words, and her gaze fell again. Olivia, noticing that the brunette was nervous, only looked at her questioningly. To brighten up the impending silence, Anna noticed that the guest had a very beautiful bag. The girl with emerald hair, her eyes glowing, asked if the pattern was really beautiful. Olivier said that the bag came in a set with a fan. The guest opened her fan, revealing the beauty of the lace pattern. The girl with emerald hair shared that the accessory was made of rare silk, which was brought from distant Istria. The brunette explained that she thought it was a very beautiful thing, but it turned out they were imported. Our heroine suggested that a dress made of such material would look great. Olivia waved her fan. She wondered how her new friend knew about it. The guest shared that it was originally a dress, but it had been altered. Smiling, Anna explained that she was very sorry, because it would suit her very well. The brunette asked what had happened. Embarrassed, Olivia explained that the dress had actually been left to her by her late sister. The guest explained that she thought of the deceased every time she looked at these things. The girl explained that she would very much like to turn back time. Looking into Olivia's eyes, Letitia could not believe that she was thinking about her. Rose asked the girl if she had heard the tale of the Baroness who missed her late sister and left her room for 40 years. Clapping her hands, Hazel asked if her interlocutor really meant Baroness Mito. Rose answered affirmatively, explaining that she had taken such good care of the room that it seemed as if its owner was about to leave it at any moment. Smiling, Olivia noted that in all countries there was a similar longing for the departed. The guest noted that the fate of those who went to the next world was like this. The angry brunette noticed that Lady Olivia had ruined the deceased's things and made a bag out of them. The girl sighed heavily upon hearing such a remark. The girl with green hair nervously looked away, thinking up an excuse. Smiling, Olivia explained that things hanging in the closets tend to be forgotten. Astor's sister explained that she was afraid to forget her sister. Hazel's eyes widened with delight and such nobility. Fanning herself, Marie asked if Olivia always carried a bag with a fan. The guest explained that she wanted to leave a memory of her deceased sister. The friend touched the grieving woman's shoulder and suggested how hard it was for her. Squinting her eyes, the brunette realized that it was a lie. Our heroine realized that the clothes simply wouldn't suit her sister-in-law. Unlike Letitia, Olivia was thinner and had long limbs. The brunette remembered that when she was thrown out of the house, her sister would wear it on purpose to make fun of her. Letitia understood that she couldn't wear the dress all the time. Our heroine understood that the dress must have been very much to her liking, since she decided to alter it. Letitia was furious that her sister-in-law dared to do something like that to her grandmother's memento. Marie poked her sister in the shoulder and asked her to be patient. The Baroness reminded the girl that Lungaro could see this at any moment. The Count asked the girl why her sister died. The guy explained that he thought the girl was young and there wasn't that big of an age difference between them. Olivia explained that the new sister didn't fit in with the family atmosphere. The guest shared that their entire family tried to show love to the deceased. The liar explained that no matter how hard they tried, the blonde could not find happiness. With tears in her eyes, Olivia suggested that their love had not reached her. Astor's sobbing sister insisted that when Astor left their family, she wanted to follow her. Hazel asked the girl not to cry because it was all in the past. The sobbing girl with emerald hair shared that her soul ached every time she remembered that she couldn't help her. The brunette slowly withdrew into herself. Letitia wanted to say that she did not choose death, but that they killed her. Letitia wanted to ask if she regretted that she couldn't steal anything anymore. Marie asked the guest why she had come here from Nordland. The girl said that she decided to travel because she wanted to see the popular port of Kant. The Baroness noticed that it was quite far. The girl with red hair asked if Olivia had come with someone. Smiling, she explained to the guest that she had come alone. But since she had a Shaylin, it could be assumed that she was with a friend. Smiling, the red-haired girl explained that she was surprised that an unmarried lady was coming to another country alone. The Baroness noted that Northland is very conservative in its attitude towards girls. Fanning herself, Marie suggested that all of this was just her stereotypes. Benusa explained that she was surprised that the guest had come here alone. Olivia's face immediately darkened. Letitia realized that when she got married, they might say bad things about her. She didn't understand how her former sister-in-law got permission for such a long trip. Clutching the hem of her dress tightly, Olivia said that her mother had expressed a desire for her to see the world. The guest explained that her mother cares and loves her so much. The girl noticed the lie again because Carissa's love was a model son. When Astor's stock rose due to a successful business, the family could not connect their daughter with a good family. Releasing her into society, they sent her on a journey alone. Anna realized that the guest was hiding something. The princess assured that she was very glad that they decided to attend her event. Bowing, Edgar explained that they were honored to be invited. The blonde explained that she was grateful for their arrival. The princess asked why they were all gathered there. Turning around and embracing his sister, Edgard explained that there was nothing wrong with that and asked her to forgive them. Having cast a contemptuous glance at the guest, the brunette wondered if she really thought that they would end there. Letitia knew that those who bully never remember it, but the victims remember everything. Anna was ready to pay her former sister-in-law back in full for everything. A pleasant melody was heard around the area. The violinist masterfully produced divine sounds. The guests of honor were sitting and chatting about something at the table. Looking at the musicians, the brunette noticed how beautiful the music was. The girl realized that the beautiful melody, delicious food, and noble conversation of the elite was a great place to enter the society. Anna Rose walked behind the marquises, and there was some uncertainty in her eyes. Having fallen a little behind her friends, the girl noticed the cat. Fluffy looked at the girl with his amber eyes. The girl wondered if it was the prince's cat. Our heroine timidly sat down next to the animal. Letitia wondered if maybe she should take one when she returned. Before this, the girl could not have cats because her ex-husband was allergic to fur. Marie said that their table was there. The brother asked Rose to hurry up and go quickly. Leaving the cat, the girl quickly walked towards the table. The cat followed the girl with an attentive and inquisitive look. My sister ordered herself the strongest black tea with wine and a fish and basil sandwich. The Marquis asked the same as his sister. For the first time in a long time, Letitia felt like a real person from Kant. At first, our heroine had a hard time getting used to the fact that here they drink everything with tea. The waiter approached Rose and asked what the girl wanted. The brunette explained that cream tea would be enough for her. Our trio sat at the table drinking tea. Light, unobtrusive melodies were in the air. Approaching the Marquis, Marinette noticed that they had not seen each other for quite some time. The acquaintance assumed that he was very busy, since he did not come to sail on the yacht. The blonde explained that they were waiting for a guy, and this somehow upset their whole company. Edgar explained that the wine shipping period was scheduled soon, so he had indeed been very busy all this time. The boys asked if everything was ready. The friends reminded him that they were looking forward to it. The boys assured him that Lady Mary was as beautiful as ever. The girl bit her lips slightly. Acquaintances noticed that there was no dress that would not suit a lady. The girl was as brilliant as a sea coral. The green eyes sparkled with the compliment, and the girl covered her face with a fan. The guy asked if she had time to enjoy the tea. The girl thanked them for paying so much attention to her. The Marquise assumed that they wanted to ask something else. The brunette, very embarrassed, asked who the Marquise's companion was. The guy noted that he was seeing the brunette for the first time. New acquaintances noticed that Rose was charming. The guy admitted that at first he couldn't believe his eyes, and it even seemed to him that the girl was a heroine who had stepped out of a painting. Smiling, Marie explained that the girl was her younger distant sister. The Marquise asked if the brunette was really beautiful. Letitia knew she was 2 years older, but she chose to remain silent. Putting her hand on her chest, the girl greeted him and introduced herself as Anna Rose Victoire. The blonde, hesitating a bit, asked if she was really from the Victoire family. The guy remembered that this family came from the Bourdons. She assured him that the guys were right. The girl assured that almost no one knew about it, that her great-grandfather once mentioned it. An acquaintance reminded that almost all Victoires died suddenly, and because of this, the future of their family was in doubt. The Count explained that he was very surprised to meet the brunette. The guy admitted that the question of their heredity interested him very much. Letitia became very nervous. The Marquis interrupted the girl. He explained that it was truly astonishing because even after so many generations, the color of their hair remained unchanged. The guy remembered that the brunette's great-grandfather had such black hair that he was nicknamed Raven. The girl, embarrassed, thanked her brother. The brunette asked what they were discussing so actively. The guy assured that he was very interested. He was amazed that the brunette was a relative of Marie. The Count noticed that the girl, at such a young age, was already the heiress of the family. Rose assured everyone that she was glad to meet them. Our heroine explained that she needed to step away for a while. The brunette realized that this could be the end of the presentation ceremony. The girl realized that she was a little overexcited and needed to rest a little. Heisen asked his sister if she was going to wear the turquoise ring. Our heroine listened to the Count's conversation. The guy will remind you that they chose blue cuffs precisely because of this. The brunette explained that it was strange, but when she washed her hands before going out, she left the ring on the table. She insisted that at some point it simply disappeared. The guy suggested that the girl might have dropped it. She claimed that she thought so too, but she couldn't find it. The guy suggested that the jewelry might have rolled under the furniture. He explained that he needed to ask the maids and search for it again. The Count reminded the brunette that she had recently hired a new maid. The brunette assured that Hannah could not be a thief. The girl reminded that her ring had a very unusual pattern and that it couldn't even be sold to traders. The brunette hoped that Olivia couldn't do something like that far from home. Entering the room, our heroine saw a guest. She was clearly surprised by the appearance of Countess Victoire. Our heroine realized that her former sister-in-law had just hidden something up her sleeve. She asked the girl how she had enjoyed tea in Kant. She asked if their tea parties were different from those in Northland. Olivia explained that the atmosphere was unusual, but that was part of the fun. The guest explained that the new acquaintance and Lady Marie attracted a lot of attention. The girl noticed that the brunette was simply amazing. Our heroine picked up a brush, wanting to touch up her makeup. Letitia explained that she was simply related to Maria, and that was why she attracted attention. Olivia noticed that for such a simple reason, the brunette was surrounded by too many people. The guest, smiling, compared our heroines to a stamen hiding in a flower. Letitia realized that her former sister-in-law was receiving less attention than she expected. It turned out that the guest had illusions about how she would conduct interesting conversations with the guys of this state about the differences between the countries. Rose realized that she and Marie had pulled everyone over. Our heroine asked the guest what she was doing there. Olivia hesitantly explained that she was tired from the long journey. Smiling, the brunette suggested that she was most likely tired of talking. The brunette asked the girl to ignore her and rest. Letitia realized that Olivia hadn't even touched anything. The brunette assumed that she hadn't corrected her habits. Our heroine understood that Shallon could have accidentally lost the ring. The girl tried to convince that it was impossible. The brunette unbraided her thick hair. Letitia remembered that when she entered the restroom, the guest was definitely hiding something. Rose explained that she was a little tired, having been on her feet since the morning. The girl placed a hairpin with brightly shining blue stones on the table. Olivia asked if she really wanted to change for a nap. Our heroine said she only wanted to rest for half an hour. The guest noticed the decorations shining in the rays of the sun. The second hands were ticking, emphasizing the silence with a moderate ticking sound. Olivia called out to Countess Victoire. The girl grinned and realized that she was in a deep sleep. The guest from another country heard approaching conversations. She froze for a few seconds when she heard someone asking if the restroom was here. Someone confirmed it and explained that she was here last year. Olivia looked around nervously and realized that Anna Rose was asleep. The girl grinned and took the jewelry from the table. Waking up, our heroine went to the dressing table. Smiling, the girl saw that naturally the precious hairpin was not there. One of the girls noticed that Rose was not visible in the garden. The brunette was here. The brunette said that she lay down to rest because she was very tired. Letitia asked what time it was. The blonde insisted that it was a little after 5 in the evening. The girl asked Rose if they had woken her up by accident. Our heroine thanked the girls for helping her wake up in time. Letitia explained that if she had not been woken up, she would have slept through the entire event. The girl in the bright pink dress warned our heroine that Marie was looking for her. The brunette explained that in that case she had to go. She was looking for her hairpin on the dressing table. Muttering something about her sister-in-law, the girl in the bright pink dress asked what had happened. Rose explained that her hairpin was missing. The girl insisted that the thing had been given to her by someone dear to her. The brunette asked what the thing looked like and promised to help find it. Letitia explained that she would be very grateful and described the loss. The hairpin was about the size of a palm and decorated with sapphires. The friends suggested that it was very expensive and suggested that they look for it quickly. The three of them searched every corner of the restroom. Trembling all over, Shallon asked the Countess if she was sure that she had lost the jewelry in this particular room. The blonde suggested that the jewelry could have fallen in the garden or in the carriage on the way here. Tears welled up in her eyes, and the girl explained that the jewelry was definitely with her before she went to bed. Our heroine understood that if she directly accused Olivia, the culprit would feel like she was in danger. The girl suggested reporting the loss to the Sullivans. She claimed that the prince would definitely help find the thing that was valuable to Rose. The girl suggested that she would have to do so, since they could not find it. Letitia realized that it would be more profitable for her to persuade third parties. Taking her new friend by the hand, she thanked her for helping her look for her hairpin. Smiling, Shalene explained that she hoped that Countess Victor would still return the valuable thing. Our heroine thought that the girls had become her active witnesses. The sound of a golden bell burst into the room. Shalene asked if the brunette had heard it. Letitia knew that this ringing meant the arrival of the royal family or influential guests close to her. She suggested that they go quickly. It was an ancient custom of Kant that Marie had taught the girl. When the bell rang at an event, everyone had to leave what they were doing and gather together. The girl did not understand who could arrive, because these people were not on the guest list that Lengaro showed her. The brunette looked with interest, because he showed her that guest list. The blonde thanked the guests for coming to this modest tea party, that she was very glad that unexpectedly dear guests came to them. She couldn't believe the king would be there. Graceful hands pulled back the curtain. Letitia's eyes lit up when the girl was introduced to Prince Sionian, the salt of the seas from the Summerhurst family. Having put down the bell, the luxurious blonde assumed that all the guests had already arrived. The girl could not believe that the salt itself had appeared in person. She could not believe that the prince had come to see her. Our heroine remembered their last night. The memories flashed through the girl's head like a vivid picture. Rose assumed that Sionian had definitely come to check how she was coping with the task. The brunette tried to convince herself that they were connected only by a deal. The girl realized that it would be stupid to expect more. Letitia tried to force herself to stop thinking about the little things and focus on the test, and she didn't want to disappoint him. Smiling, our heroine explained to the girl that she did not know that she would be able to see him. The girl discussed that the blonde was as beautiful and magnificent as the rays of the sun. Heading towards the countess, the baroness asked the brunette what had happened. Rose explained that they had been talking about the salt arriving. Marie asked the brunette if she was really scared by his appearance. Our heroine, visibly nervous, answered that there was nothing like that. The brunette had already started to worry about the missing hairpin, but now the blonde was here. The girl doubted whether she could make a scene now. The girl asked her sister if she had pinned up her hair today. The girl with red hair asked where the pin had gone in that case. Nervously twirling her hair around her finger, our heroine explained that she had decided to get some sleep and that the jewelry had disappeared at that time. She wondered if someone could have taken the hairpin. Shallon approached the baroness and asked what had happened. Marie sighed and explained that someone had attempted to steal her relative's hairpin. The countess wondered if someone could have stolen the hairpin. The embarrassed brunette explained so that there was nothing to worry about, and that her hairpin could have simply gotten lost. Shalim wondered how the girl could say such a thing, since she had already said that she had the hairpin before she fell asleep. Rose, noticeably nervous, suggested that it could have been a thief. The countess wondered who could dare to do something like that. One of the men asked if there was anyone here who wanted to take our heroine's accessory. I'll explain something that someone from Kant wouldn't have done that. The man asked if anyone had any guesses. The girl with dark hair asked if there was anything besides the arrival of the salt. Blonde, you said that Countess Victor's things were missing. Olivia ran up to the girl and asked what had happened. Looking at the brunette with disdain, she realized that she had caught her sister-in-law. Grabbing the guest and on the other side by the hand, Rose asked her if she had seen the hairpin. Olivia asked what color the accessory was, green or blue. The brunette noticed something strange, because the last thing she remembered was their conversation in the break room. Our heroine explained that when she woke up, the hairpin was gone. The nervous guest asked again. The crowd began to assume that Lady Olivia could have done it. People assumed that there was no one else in the room who could have done it except Lady Olivia. Letitia knew very well that the guest loved the color blue. Our heroine lost a lot of things near their house, and they were blue. The losses included aquamarine jewelry and a crisp blue tea dress, as well as silk slippers set with a blue sapphire. Today, she is choosing an image not for this trap, but it was unexpected for her. The guest from another country explained that she also remembers how the brunette took off the hairpin before going to bed. The foreign guest tried to explain that she had immediately left the lounge and that the decoration was still there at that moment. Olivia suggested that perhaps someone else had entered the room after her. Shallon claimed that she and her friend came in after the item went missing. The brunette explained that the countess found out about the loss because they accidentally woke her up when they entered. The countess asked her friend if she suspected them of stealing. Olivia, waving her hands emotionally, explained that she had not meant that. The girl asked if Olivia had come out immediately after she herself had fallen asleep. The guest claimed that she had been worried that she might wake Rose. Our heroine asked what time it happened. Olivia insisted that she had left before 5 o'clock. The brunette said she remembered barely hearing the bells ringing as she fell asleep. Rose asked if Olivia had really left before 5 in the evening. Shalene explained that they had heard it too as they were walking into the room. The brunette asked her friend if she remembered how they had talked about leaving in exactly half an hour. Our heroine explained that Lady Sophie had arrived after the pin had disappeared. She explained that she could guarantee it. Covering her face with her hands, Shallon asked Juskade if the countess had suspected her of stealing. Sophie explained that it really wasn't her. After paying, the guest explained that the countess was overdoing it. Shallon explained that she could add something else. The girl was sure that her friend from another country was not that kind of person. Shalin explained that the guest had only recently arrived in Kant. The brunette asked to review and suggested that there might have been a mistake. Rose asked the lady if she had lost any jewelry recently. The brunette remembered the ring she had recently lost. A quiet murmur went through the crowd. People began to doubt that the Countess's hairpin and Lady Shalin's ring were not a coincidence at all. Breaking into a scream, Olivia explained that it really wasn't her. The guest, opening her arms, offered to check. The princess turned to Countess Victoire and Lady Olivia. The blonde explained that she had already heard that there had been a theft at the tea party. The princess asked if she could help with anything. Goss asked if she could be a witness. Blushing, Olivia asked to check her things to prove her innocence. The girl asked the guest if she really wanted her to do it. Olivia explained that everyone would be convinced if the blonde did it. The princess suggested going inside and calmly resolving the problem among the girls. The guest brazenly declared that she wanted to resolve it here and prove that she had not stolen anything. The suspect opened her arms and asked to do it here. With a heavy sigh, the princess agreed to this proposal. The suspect held out her purse without any remorse. After looking inside, the princess confirmed that the clutch was empty. After feeling the girl's dress and shawl, the organizer explained that there was nothing there. Rose asked Lady Olivia if she could have a look too. The guest wondered if the brunette didn't trust Princess Sullivan. Smiling, the princess explained that everything was fine and allowed the countess to do it if she wanted. Rose started her search from the sleeves, then moved to the hem of the dress and the chest area. Our heroine realized that the thief had too much open cleavage, and she understood that she wouldn't be able to openly climb in there. Olivia again began to assure that she had nothing. Having lowered herself, the girl began to examine the hem of her dress. The guests, indignant, asked what the countess was doing. Rose asked her guest not to move if she wanted to prove her innocence. Olivia, breaking into a scream, asked what the brunette was doing. Our heroine felt the stocking, from which Olivia fell sharply. Unexpectedly for the crowd, a ring rolled out. Olivia froze when Shalin noticed that the ring belonged to her. The guest began to prove to her friend that it was not her. Olivia tried to justify herself by saying that she simply found the jewelry by accident and wanted to return it later. Shalin asked his friend why she didn't say anything, since she knew very well about the disappearance. Olivia sat on her knees, not understanding what to do next. The girl reminded that Hyland had specially chosen an outfit to match this ring. The countess explained that she had suspected her friend from the very beginning. Shalin explained that the ring went missing after the guest had been in her room. Olivia asked to wait and not to jump to conclusions. She tried to prove to her former friend that she could explain everything to her. The brunette grinned and explained that she couldn't do that because, in addition to the ring falling out from under the girl's skirt, our heroine also found a brush. The princess remembered that she had left brushes in the guest's toilet. The guest tried to justify herself by saying that she had not stolen the brush and certainly could not have taken it. The blonde Pomraknev asked again if Olivia had really not stolen it. The princess asked if the rest of the thefts were the girl's doing. The guest grinned and asked if those present knew who her brother was. The girl reminded that she was the sister of Astor Winchester from Northland. The suspect asked why she would steal if their family already had a lot of money thanks to a successful business. Sipping wine, the blonde suggested that it was her bad habit. The blonde learned that the girl had been exiled because of this habit. The thief explained that she had simply obeyed her parents because they wanted her to travel. Langaro recalled that in society, this is called expulsion. The guest asked what kind of false accusations were made against her. Olivia vehemently argued that she hadn't touched other people's things. The guy assumed that she had touched someone else's husband. Olivia Winchester was the second daughter of the Marquess of Northland. The girl had already attended her third season of social events, but until then, she was still unmarried. The guy remembered that her hobbies were going to horse races or admiring paintings. Langaro recalled that this was the reason for the rumors about her affair with the racetrack manager Robin. The blonde recalled that the girl left the country after this, but the date of her return was still unknown. The guy asked the lady if he had made a mistake. Olivia's face was frozen in mute horror. Memories took our heroine back to the times when she was still called Letitia. The girl with blonde hair explained to our heroine that she doesn't trust men. While sipping tea, the blonde explained that she only wanted their special heredity. Robin Amond was born into a poor family of barons abroad. But he was lucky that he was chosen by the only daughter of Prince Hirschbent. Letitia asked if her friend was worried, but she explained that she was not worried about the rumors that were going around about the guy, and she claimed that her father would do anything for her. According to her friend, the father loved his daughter very much and felt an equally strong aversion towards his son-in-law. It was no surprise to the man that such trash would behave like trash. Unfortunately, the girl's father could do nothing, because the boy was also a human being. The man watched with disdain from the window as he courted his daughter. The man got rid of all the girls that were with Robin instead of her, and they didn't even think about approaching them anymore. The girl noticed that Olivia had completely lost her mind, committing such acts brazenly and without a twinge of conscience. The man assumed that the guest was only interested in someone's property. He dryly and theatrically sympathized with the girl. Smiling, the princess explained to the thief that she would have to go with them. Wriggling like a snake in the hands of a servant, Olivia tried to prove that she could explain everything. Our heroine was surprised that the guest was still behaving so brazenly, even though they were not in Northland. Smiling, the blonde explained that there had been a slight delay, but the tea party was not over yet. The princess shared that a concert was taking place near the fountain and wished everyone to enjoy the beautiful music. Rose handed the stolen brush to the party organizer. The princess bowed and left. A glimmer of hope flashed in the brunette's eyes that the princess would be able to find her hairpin. It didn't make much difference to Letitia if she lost it, but at the same time, the girl was very worried about the fact that the accessory was bought with His Majesty's money. Our heroine understood that this accessory belonged to the prince, so it would have to be returned. Unexpectedly, Longan approached the lady. The girl shuddered in surprise. He apologized for scaring her. Smiling, the brunette asked what he wanted. The guy said that Sionian wanted to see her. The blonde invited the girl to go inside. Rose became very nervous, addressing His Highness. Zion asked what she was thinking when she did this. The guy said that her value would be lost the moment she was discovered. Deep sky-blue eyes pierced our heroine through and through. The prince explained that it was too hasty a decision. Bowing her head, the brunette asked for forgiveness. She assured that she had not planned it. The girl promised to be more careful in the future so that this would not happen again. Zion, lifting the brunette's face, noticed that she was quite talented. The blonde explained that he noticed how the girl got into character with her poses and intonations. He explained that it was dangerous, but he was ready to forgive her. The guy noticed how his friend resisted her enemy, without hesitation. The prince leaned more comfortably against the back of the sofa. The girl asked if he had really found out that Olivia would be at the tea party today. The prince asked if his answer would change anything. Letitia knew very well what the reason was for her being present at the tea party. The girl realized that the blonde was testing Anna Rose, and at the same time wanted to see if Letitia could cope with her past. The guy asked her what she would do if she didn't find the missing item. Rose explained that she was sure that would happen. The brunette also assured that the situation clearly pointed to this. But if the evidence was not enough, she would have developed another plan. The countess knew that Olivia had told only one truth. The thief had not stolen the brushes, since the brunette had done it herself. Our heroine prepared herself so that the thief had no chance to retreat. Smiling, the blonde noted that it was quite cruel on her part. Rose asked the prince why he helped her. The blonde asked how. Zion asked the brunette if she would have adjusted the glass if she thought it was about to fall. Rose felt a little sad, realizing that the guy really treated her like a pawn. The girl didn't understand what she expected knowing this. The blonde noticed that she had that expression on her face again. Our heroine asked him again what he was talking about. Zion noticed her hot eyes and asked if she really missed him and wanted him. The prince noticed that the girl resembled the one who trembled in his arms and trembled under him. The blonde sat Rose on his lap and asked if his guesses were true. Closing her eyes, the girl admitted that she missed him a lot. She was grateful because he gave her warmth and support that she had not felt in a long time. Rose remembered that it was a year ago. The girl asked the blonde if he liked her then. The blonde wondered if she really wanted to hear the same thing in response. Having pushed the girl onto the sofa, he remembered that she was just as annoying, and that she also craves attention, but then gets scared if you give it to her. The guy asked why he should miss her. The prince explained that he could get the brunette at any time. The girl reminded that she can get anyone she wants if she wants it. The girl suggested that she is just She assumed that the prince simply felt sorry for her. Gently rubbing his nose against her ear, the guy explained to Letitia that she was thinking too much. Holding the girl, the blonde whispered that her head was so full that the words flew out on their own. He explained that you can't say that you missed her as much as she missed him. The prince shared that he wanted to see her because her eyes were like violets and the pity in them was overflowing. The guy asked the girl to give up her self-flagellation as an old habit. Looking at her lover with sapphire eyes, our heroine admitted that it was difficult for her to do this herself. The prince explained that he could help her in only one way. He pulled the dress down from her luxurious chest. The boy kissed her neck gently. He said that he would have to insist until she threw all thoughts away. The prince asked if she missed it. Bright rays of sun were breaking through the windows. Sun glare fell on our heroine's bed. Letitia didn't know what to do. The brunette understood that if His Majesty contacted her, he still wouldn't be able to touch her. The girl got out of bed, trying to stop thinking about it. To her regret, Letitia realized that everything would return to normal once the deal was completed. The brunette understood that no matter how much she worried, nothing would change. The girl approached the table. Our heroine almost dropped the teapot from the loud sound. Having burst into the room, Marie asked what it was. The Marchioness asked if Rose was okay. Smiling, the brunette assured that everything was fine, awkwardly holding the lid of the teapot. Marie asked the girl to look at her face. The sister noticed that Rose had lost a lot of weight during the day. The Marchioness asked to speak to her honestly. The brunette asked what the girl was talking about. Marie wondered if His Majesty had scolded the brunette so severely. The nervous Baroness explained that if that was the case, there was no point in sending the brunette away when she was with him every day. Marie wondered if the prince hadn't told her to think about it and left her there. Rose, very embarrassed, admitted that the prince had scolded her a little. Smiling, the Marquise reminded the girl that even if he scolded her, he was still on the brunette's side. Rose's sister told her that Olivia knew little of humanity. She noticed that her guest seemed to have a nice character, but inside she was petty and cunning. The brunette reminded that yesterday the princess took Olivia. The girl asked what would happen to her former sister-in-law. Looking at Rose, the sister asked if she could tell. Taking a cup of tea, the brunette explained that only the king and Kant could issue a decree of exile. The girl assured that no one would be interested in such a petty thief. Our heroine knew that by law, the thief had to pay 3 times the amount stolen. Letitia remembered Shalene's ring, her hairpin, and the prince's brooch. While drinking tea, the brunette noticed that Olivia would owe a decent compensation. Smiling, Marie explained to the girl that she was her best student. The brunette asked Marie if she thought she had passed His Majesty's exam. Smiling, the Baroness explained to the girl that her exam was not over yet. The girl told Rose that Mr. Langare would soon tell her about the next exam. The Baroness asked the brunette to go downstairs because they were already waiting there. Rose was surprised to see Mr. Langaro when she came downstairs. The blonde man wished the lady a good morning. The guy noticed that she looked beautiful, like a lily in dewdrops. Smiling, the girl thanked him for the compliment. Langaro suggested moving to another place first. The guy explained that he wanted to give the brunette something before telling her about the exam. The blonde man said Olivia's interrogation lasted until dawn. Langaro said the thief confessed to taking the ring and pin, but denied stealing the brooch. And he said that Princess Sullivan was so angry that she was ready to throw the thief in jail. Looking down, Rose explained that she was very sorry. The brunette asked where the thief hid the hairpin. The blonde man, a little nervous, explained that he had cleaned the jewelry thoroughly before returning it, so the girl could rest easy. The brunette's face was indignant. The guy put a small suitcase on the table and asked the girl to take it. Looking at the bag and fan, the brunette asked why they brought it to her. The blonde asked Rose to consider this as compensation. The brunette was very unusual, because what was taken from her, she usually returned herself. Langaro asked if the girl really preferred to accept money. Smiling, the heroine thanked him and explained that it was a really important thing for her. Handing over the envelope, the blonde explained that there was something else left and asked her to open it. The girl read that it was an invitation to the Moonlight Ball. The Moonlight Ball was a masquerade ball that was held in the Temple of the Sea on the day when the moon was at its brightest all year. All faces were hidden, and showing respect to the gods of the sea, everyone treated each other equally and danced until the morning. It was an evening when they asked for calm seas for the whole next year. And according to tradition, the entire aristocracy received an invitation to the ball. After reading her name, the girl understood that she was also invited to this ball. The brunette, with a smile on her face, understood that she had finally received recognition from the aristocracy of Kant. This time, the conditions for passing the exam were the same. Until the points were over, do not reveal to anyone the truth about what she did and that she was a foreigner. The blonde said that the face would be covered with a mask, so no one would see each other. So the girl only had to focus on her behavior and manner of speech. The guy explained that he was sure that the lady would definitely cope with everything perfectly. Langaro reminded the girl that she had passed her very first exam with flying colors. Smiling, the blonde asked if Marie had told the girl that His Majesty was planning to live in the house of the Marquise of Borden for some time. Drops of cold sweat rolled down our heroine's face. She asked again, not believing her ears. The blonde asked the girl if Mrs. Marie hadn't told her about this. Rose admitted that the Marchioness had told so much that she herself was a little confused. Langaro explained that the prince had originally planned to stay with Prince Sullivan, but had suddenly changed his mind. The blonde reminded Rose that His Majesty was a very complex person. The girl understood that every time she was in the same room with His Majesty, she felt as if he was evaluating her. The brunette wondered if he had decided to stop here specifically because of her. Entering the room, the guy explained that he came running after learning that Mr. Langaro was here. The Marquise asked why the blonde had come so early in the morning. Langaro said that he had come to give something to Mrs. Anna Rose. Edgar reminded the brunette that it was time to go to the dance. Smiling, the Baron said that he and Marie had also received an invitation. Smiling, the blonde asked his friend who he was planning to go to the ball with. Ed, very embarrassed, asked again. The guy said that he would go with Marie as usual. Embarrassed, Langare suggested that the ram become his partner this time. Throwing a disapproving glance, Edgar explained that he was not yet completely out of his mind to agree to this. Laughing, the blonde noted that the Baron was very cruel. Smiling, Edgar explained that only Mr. Langare was cruel. Cold raindrops flowed in small streams from the umbrella to the floor. Marie asked her sister to stop losing weight. Baronessa noticed that she had to change the size too often. The girl explained that she does not do this on purpose. Taking the Baron by the arm, Langare explained that he had no prejudices. Marie remembered that the brunette had felt ill after breakfast last time. Having kissed her sister on the cheek, our heroine wished Maria sweet dreams. The maids carefully opened the box. The brunette looked at the box and carefully opened it. Rose looked at the soft pink dress. The girl could not refuse the recommendation and chose this dress. Letitia noticed that this dress was similar to the one she once wore to a wedding. The girl wondered if Astor would go down that path again when they got married again. The girl involuntarily recalled the image of her ex-husband's mistress. The brunette sighed sadly and realized that she would not be able to sleep tonight. The girl walked along the corridor, and the light of distant cold stars barely illuminated the room. The brunette noticed many bottles of wine. She realized that she should be grateful. Rose took one of the bottles and poured herself a glass. Confident footsteps were heard from behind the girl. Sionian wished the brunette a bon appetit. The girl jumped up abruptly and pronounced the name of His Majesty. The blonde noticed that she still hadn't gotten rid of her habit of wandering around at night. Sighing, the prince realized that it was a mistake to leave the girl in the house. The wine is shared. Penetrating the heroine with sky-blue eyes, the guy asked her to sit down so as not to fall and break her head. Barely staying on her feet, the girl agreed with His Majesty's opinion. Letitia's head spun violently, and she put her hand on the table to keep her balance for at least a moment. But the brunette couldn't stay on her feet and fell, hitting her head hard on a nearby chair. The prince asked how the girl was feeling and asked her to look at him. Sionian asked the girl if she felt sick and dizzy, or if she had a headache. Our heroine admitted that she did not know what made her dizzy, whether from the fall or from the wine. The guy reminded her that he told her not to break her face. The prince asked if she really wanted to break her head. The blonde explained that she should have at least grouped herself when falling. Rose explained that she was very angry that she could not drink or that she might die. And she suggested that she was a corpse that lived only on hatred, or a living person who was supposed to die. Rose explained that she was lucky enough to meet a man and survive, but her soul was shattered when she was stabbed. The brunette said she lived for revenge. The girl explained that everything creaks in it because it doesn't know when it will fall apart. Letitia explained that sometimes you need a lubricant in the form of alcohol. The brunette explained that alcohol would not be able to ruin the work because she had already asked herself not to do it from the very beginning. There was a silence in the room, and only the bright light helped to see the emotions on her face. Zion explained that he had never been in such a position before, so he would not be able to understand her. The boy understood only theories, and unlike quiet people who are afraid of everything and avoid looks, the girl was surprisingly capable. She explained that she was able to impress the Bordens. The bright light of the sun illuminated our heroes sleeping in an embrace. The blonde opened his eyes, the girl pressed herself tightly to him, and also opened one eye. Letitia explained that she was very grateful to His Highness for his generosity towards her. That thanks to him, for the first time in a long time, she was able to sleep peacefully. From the bed, the blonde asked if he was really a sleeping pill for her. The girl only answered negatively, and he asked who in the family could treat its head like that. Our heroine only looked questioningly at the guy. Letitia asked, "Did she really do something wrong?" The prince looked at her sternly and asked if she had finished her business. Throwing on a snow-white shirt, the blonde left the room. Langaro wished His Majesty a good morning. The boy asked what had happened. The gentleman only rudely replied that nothing had happened to him. A very nervous Langaro explained that he only wanted to talk about what the man had told him to prepare. The prince asked if he had prepared everything. The huge white mansion was flooded with starlight. The sky glittered as if it were strewn with thousands of diamonds. Bowing, the baron asked the brunette if she would do him the honor of being his partner at the ball. The girl, slightly embarrassed, answered positively. A modest smile appeared on Edgard's face. Marie explained to her brother that Rose already had a partner. The Baroness noted that they could not be left alone for a second. Marie ordered her brother to go and offered to be his partner as usual. The guy muttered that his sister had started doing the same thing again today. To his indignation, his sister only jokingly showed him her tongue. Edgar wished Rose luck and a beautiful full moon. The brunette asked the girl who would be her partner. Smiling, Marie replied that it would be a secret. Baronessa asked the brunette if she had brought a mask with her. Rose put on a snow-white mask with delicately embroidered lace and luxurious white feathers. Smiling, Marie patted the brunette on the fly and asked her to behave as usual. The red-haired girl claimed that everyone would definitely like her younger sister. The Baroness wished our heroine good luck and explained that her partner was about to arrive. Our heroine stood, and in the air hung not my question, who would be her partner? She assumed that Mr. Langaro might come, since she had been announced a second exam. Suddenly, a voice came from behind her. Turning around, the girl saw Mr. Simonian. The blond man was wearing a black mask with gray ornate patterns. Rose asked him what he was doing there. The prince asked if she wanted him as a partner. The girl folded her arms out of embarrassment and explained that she hadn't been talking about that at all. The brunette couldn't believe that the ball had been so important, that the gentleman had personally come here. Holding out his hand, Zion asked the girl to hold on. The brunette hesitantly extended her hand. The silhouettes of our heroes in the moonlight were reflected in the water of one of the fountains. The prince asked the girl if she liked the dress. The brunette answered with a smile that she did. Rose assumed that she was also a little to the guy's taste. The prince asked what happened if so. The girl entered the huge hall, arm in arm with the gentleman. Pleasant melodies were heard in the hall. Handing Letitia a glass of drink, the blonde explained that it would help her hide her flaws. The girl asked if the gentleman would really not be there. The prince explained that he did not drink alcohol. The brunette asked with interest if he couldn't stand alcohol either. Rose bombarded the guy with questions about his dislike of strong drinks. Looking at the glass, the brunette could not understand how she could drink so much before. The girl admitted that before meeting the prince, she drank almost every day because she couldn't handle it all sober. Letitia explained that at first she got drunk instantly, but then it turned into torture. Smiling, Zion reminded the girl that she had already broken her head from one bottle, although she claimed to be a good drinker. Our heroine explained that it was not because of the alcohol. The blonde asked if it was because of him. The girl looked down and explained that the gentleman was more dangerous than the alcohol. Laughing, the guy snatched the glass from the girl's hands and explained that it was time for them to go. Zion hoped that his partner's dancing skills would be enough for that song. The prince took her hand gently. Smiling, Rose explained that he should check it himself. People looked at the couple with admiration and noticed how well they danced. One of the guys asked who it was and suggested that he saw these people for the first time. Someone suggested that the girl's name might be Elizabeth. One of the guests admired the man and compared him to a shining sun. With a smile on her face, the girl danced, enjoying every moment. The blonde was surprised that she was smiling, although she was currently having an exam. The girl explained that she had reasons for this. After all, she was wearing a beautiful dress and dancing with a stunning man. She wondered how His Majesty would rate her dancing skills. A small smile appeared on the man's gloomy face. He assured her that his partner danced quite well. Taking her eyes off her lover, the girl noticed her ex-husband in the group of people. She wondered what he was doing here. Seonian asked his partner if something was wrong. The girl explained that there was nothing wrong. The brunette explained that she was a little tired and asked the blonde if he would mind if she rested a little. Let go. Let go of the fragile hand. The prince gave permission. Rose hurriedly headed somewhere. The brunette understood that if she had been resting, they would not have crossed paths. The girl understood that it was time for her to go back. Someone grabbed her hand abruptly. The brunette tore the mask off our heroine with a rough movement of his hand. The guests began to discuss that Rose was Mrs. Marie's little sister. Someone from the crowd asked who the man was. Rose, very nervous, asked the impudent fellow why he allowed himself to be so rude. The brunette became nervous, assuming that Astor realized who she really was. His Majesty could change his appearance with his powers, but not his eyes. Rose assured the man that she did not know who he was and asked him to return her mask. He returned the mask to our heroine and asked for forgiveness. Astor insisted that the girl looked like his friend. The brunette suggested that he could remember how they ran into each other at the port. Rose reassured herself that her ex-husband had become engaged to Lenica, so he was unlikely to remember another. The girl noticed that a waltz for a waltz had begun to play. Bowing, Astor invited the lady to dance. The boy explained that he would really like the girl to give him a chance to apologize for his rudeness. Astor insisted that he would like to explain why he behaved that way. His gray eyes looked at Rose with admiration. The girl assumed that this was another exam of His Majesty. Having extended her hand to her partner, the girl thought about the cruelty of the blonde. Astor noticed the elegance of the movements of his new acquaintance. The brunette explained that she knew someone who also danced well. The Countess wondered if the guy had confused her with that person. The guest explained that Rose was very similar to his ex-wife. The brunette explained that words about similarity to his wife are not what a lady wants to hear from a man. The Countess understood that neither the eyes nor anything else were alike. The girl wondered if the guy's ex-wife was really as beautiful as she was. Astor answered negatively, explaining that his ex-wife was not as chic and elegant as the girl. The guy himself was surprised that he had confused our heroine with her. The Countess assumed that the boy was ashamed. The girl was dancing with the boy she hated so much. Astor wondered why the girl hadn't asked him anything. The Countess reminded the boy that she didn't even know him. She asked her new acquaintance if he had already guessed that she was a foreigner. The girl explained that it could be understood from his manner of speech. Rose asked the guy if he had come from Norden and what brought him to Kant. The brunette, looking down, explained that he was there for family reasons. The Countess realized that the guy had come to pay compensation for Olivia. The brunette assumed that Astor did not know that she was the main one in this case. The brunette asked the girl if it would be tactless of him to ask her name. The Countess explained that the charm of the masquerade was that the participants did not know each other. The brunette explained that it was better to remember each other with good memories of the full moon. Astor explained that he had not asked her name with any ill intentions. The guy explained that he himself had a fiancée. The foreigner asked if this was a reason to trust him. Noticing the ring with a shiny stone, the girl noted that the guy was a happy man, since he had both a fiancée and an ex-wife. She claimed that he had learned what true love was, and he had understood it and felt every moment. The brunette suggested that if his ex-wife heard this, she would be upset. Stepping aside, our heroine hoped that she had already passed the exam. The foreigner asked the girl to wait and explained that he needed her help. The guy explained that his fiancée would soon visit Kant, but he would have to leave due to urgent matters. The brunette shared that he had also attended today's event due to work connections. Astor suggested that Kant was not very different from his state. The brunette explained that he was very worried about his bride, and he could not leave the young lady alone in a new country. Rose asked the foreigner if he really wanted her to accompany his fiancée. Astor asked how he could ask such a thing of a stranger. The foreigner suggested that the girl, as a person from Kant, could give him advice. The brunette explained that he needed a guide for the time his beloved would be here. The guy explained that it would be great if his new friend could recommend someone worthy. The brunette assumed that the guy's fiancée was very young. Rose giggled and asked if the girl was really 7 years old. The foreigner explained that his beloved was of legal age. The corners of the guy's mouth twitched in irritation. Astor explained to the girl that his bride was a bit simple and didn't know this world well. The brunette explained that because of this, he wanted someone to help his bride. Rose asked in surprise, "Did an adult really need a guardian?" Smiling, the brunette suggested that the guy was having a hard time. He explained with irritation that he was simply worried about his fiancée. Astor assumed that the girl herself understood that without knowing the culture of another country, it was easy to make a mistake. Rose explained that this could very well happen if you were careless. The brunette explained that this had become clear from a recent theft incident. The countess explained that there were many entrepreneurs in the canton, so the criminal punishment for theft had been increased. The guy's gaze suddenly dropped and sank to the floor. Our heroine asked how the foreigner dared to take someone else's things so frivolously. The brunette explained that even a 6-year-old child would not do such a thing in Kant. Astor asked to answer his request first. The countess nodded towards Edward and suggested a gentleman with red hair and healthy skin and large green eyes. Rose explained that the guy was the head of the Marquise Borden family, the oldest family of Kant nobility. The girl said that the guy had a sister, so he felt comfortable communicating with girls. The brunette explained more to her husband that the guy would definitely be able to follow his bride. Astor apologized and explained that it would be better for the escort to be a girl. Looking at the guy in surprise, the brunette asked if there was a problem with opposite-sex friendship. Pomraknev Rose remembered that the couple was from Northland. The girl remembered that in the north, many countries were conservative. There was an awkward silence in the air, in which the heroes seemed completely stuck. Nodding towards her sister, Rose asked who the girl's guest was. The brunette explained that she was Marie Bardin, who was the young man's younger sister. The guy explained that it would have been worthwhile to advise her from the very beginning. After a nice conversation, the marquise hit the blonde with all her might. Having apologized, Astor explained that he already understood the reason. Rose explained to the boy that she couldn't recommend anyone to him right away. The girl explained that in Conte, there was no custom of keeping an eye on someone. The brunette asked if it wasn't obvious to become independent after coming of age. Bowing, the brunette wanted to leave. The foreigner grabbed her hand roughly and asked the girl to wait. The guy explained that there was no one more suitable than the interlocutor herself. Astor explained that he felt awkward asking the girl for such a favor, and he would be very grateful if she would take a little care of his bride's comfort. The guy promised to pay the brunette well right away. Smiling, Rose explained that if the guy insisted so much, she couldn't refuse. Letitia was shocked that her ex-husband would leave Lenica for her without even knowing who she was. The brunette was surprised that Astor still believed that he made the best decisions. The girl lifted the hem of her luxurious dress and walked along the ocean shore. Sitting down on one of the boulders illuminated by the moonlight, the girl did not understand why she had been so afraid of this before, to the point of trembling. The brunette began to doubt the correctness of her decision. The girl assumed that she could refuse, but quickly realized that that request could become the first key to her revenge. The moonlight played on the waves. In the night, twilight, the girl saw a familiar white kitten. The brunette asked the fluffy one what happened to his owner if he came all the way here. The girl realized that this cat did not belong to the wife of Prince Sullivan. The girl scratched the cat behind the ear and noticed how cute he was. Kissing the fluffy creature on the forehead, Rose thanked the animal for lifting her spirits. After the kiss, the cat jumped out of the girl's hands and ran to the sea, deftly jumping from stone to stone. The brunette suggested that the cat was so shy that it had run away so far. The girl wondered who the cat belonged to. Running up to the door, the fluffy one began to actively scratch at it. The prince wondered how long the cat would be so disgustingly stubborn. The werewolf asked why the gentleman was so careless about such a capable service. After turning into a human, Langaro explained that Sionian had seen enough thanks to his changes. The blonde noticed that he had been working and doing surveillance, and on top of that, he was also nice. Taking a deep breath, the gentleman explained that it was disgusting. Langaro asked again and asked him to take his words back. The prince asked if the girl was crying, and this time she was left alone on the shore. The servant reported that the girl seemed a little lost. Langaro remarked that this was quite commendable. Sionian asked his friend if he had had fun with anyone. The embarrassed guy explained to the gentleman that the girl surprisingly loved animals. The prince asked the boy to stop talking nonsense and tell him the results of the test. Langare noticed that the gentleman could not even admit the truth. The blonde informed the gentleman that the girl had performed the Kante dance perfectly, and she had not been very worried after Aster had appeared. Langare assured that the girl had even made her ex-husband confused. The prince's face was illuminated by bright rays of the sun. Entering the living room, the girl asked His Highness if he had slept well. The guy nodded affirmatively and invited the brunette. The girl wondered why he had gotten up so early today. She simply assumed that the gentleman was most likely going to discuss that score or the test result with her. Sionian reported that he liked dogs more than cats. The girl was surprised by such a sudden phrase. Rose told the gentleman that she did not understand what he was talking about. The blonde asked who the girl liked more. A little confused, Rose answered that she liked cats. The brunette asked if this was also a test. Putting his hand on the tablecloth, the guy answered negatively. Following the gentleman with her gaze, the girl did not understand why he asked about this without any particular reason, and why he needed such information. The girl looked at her watch and asked the maid how much time was left until the first ship arrived at the port. The blonde explained that if the girl went by carriage after the meal, she would be just in time for his arrival. The maid asked if the girls were expecting someone. A huge ship was arriving at the port of Kant. The brunette knew that Lanika was supposed to arrive on this ship, and Rose was surprised that there was no girl on the ship. The brunette realized that the name and time of the ship's arrival coincided with what Aster had told her. Approaching the man, the girl asked him if she could ask him a question, to which he asked how he could be of service to the lady. She explained that she needed to check if Lanika Snoweyser was on the passenger list. The girl explained that she was supposed to meet her, but she couldn't find her among the new arrivals. The sailor reported that the lady had refused the ride just before boarding. Rose asked if he knew the reason for the passenger's refusal. The man explained that he did not know this and assured the girl that noble people could be fickle. The brunette was even a little disappointed that Lenica wouldn't be there. The girl decided that she would have to turn to Aster. The brunette noticed the Snow Weasler butler in the crowd. She knew that the dark-haired guy was called Michel, and Rose didn't understand why he came here without his mistress Lenica. The girl understood that if she followed him, she would be able to find out more details. Meanwhile, Michel turned the corner abruptly. The women greeted Madame Monte and wished her good morning. The girl smiled and said hello in return. Fortunately for the brunette, the girl knew that this territory was the commercial zone of the Marquis of Bourg, so no one would suspect her. The girl followed Michel, trying to be unnoticed. Rose was surprised that he followed her into the cafe. The girl went into one of the nearby shops and asked to sell her a burgundy hat. The brunette entered the cafe, trying to remain unnoticed. One of the waitresses approached the lady and noticed that she had not been there for a long time. Rose asked to be served the same dessert she had eaten the last time she was here with Marie. The brunette knew she shouldn't have been caught being followed. The lady reminded the servant that he had promised to bring them here. The girl turned around with curiosity and noticed Lanika. The girl was outraged that the servant came all alone. Olivia asked why the guy was here instead of them. Rose didn't understand what the thief was doing here. After all, she should have been under arrest for theft. And the girl understood that for her, the person with whom Olivia was talking was much more important. He was very embarrassed and explained that he was very uncomfortable and that his mistress had business at home. That was why she couldn't come. The guy claimed that the thief could tell him everything as her deputy. Olivia laughed and asked how it would be different from talking to the butler. Michel explained to the lady that he had tried his best. The girl's eyes showed contempt. The girl asked how long she would try because she wanted a result. The servant told the lady that the Duke was a very meticulous man. The brunette assumed that they were talking about Karl Hirschbent. Olivia asked why Robin hadn't been brought. The girl explained that they could have justified it by saying it was work-related. Unfortunately for our heroine, they were going to meet Robin. Olivia reminded that Mr. Robin was famous for his merits, so Duke Hirschbent did not trust him. Michelle explained that the gentleman would not send him abroad without a good reason. Angrily, Olivia explained that he could have made false documents. Breaking into a scream, the girl reminded him that he had promised to send Robin to her. Michelle informed the lady that they were making every effort to keep that promise. Olivia cried out in dissatisfaction and explained that she could not wait any longer. The girl explained that it was hard for her, too. Breaking into tears, the thief assumed that Lanika understood her, too. Olivia explained that she used to be on the same level with her. Eating her dessert, the brunette realized that she was disgusted to hear that Lanika was a cheater. The girl understood that it was true. Olivia was hysterical that she missed Robin very much and had not seen the guy for a long time, which drove her crazy. The thief said that she would soon have to leave Kant. The girl asked if she really had no hope of meeting her. Rose knew that Olivia had only stayed in Kant to see Robin. The thief said that she had some thoughts about the constantly thwarted plans. The girl asked if the brunette had forgotten that they had a deal. Olivia reminded him that if he did not give her what she wanted, she would tell him everything that Lenica had hidden. Michelle explained to the lady that he had already given Mr. Robin options several times. The brunette explained that if the guy decided, he would have many chances to meet. Michelle explained that if Mr. Robin had half wanted it, he would already be here. The thief, very nervous, asked if he really wanted to say that Robin had refused to see her. Smiling, the brunette explained that she had understood him correctly. Leaning her hands on the table, the girl suddenly jumped up and explained that her Robin could not do this to her. The girl recalled that on the day she was driven away, despite the danger, he went out to see her off. Olivia explained that her lover promised that they would see each other soon. He asked with a smile if the girl had ever heard from the man since then. The thief explained that Kant was abroad, and she assumed that her lover did not know where she was staying. Michelle explained that he had told him this many times on the orders of his mistress. The thief assumed that the Duke was following Robin, and she was sure that he still wanted to contact her. Olivia, breaking into hysterics, explained that if Robin could, he would definitely come. Michelle reported that Mr. Robin's wife, Larissa, had given birth to his child. Trembling all over, Olivia remembered that he didn't love his wife, and that's why he fell in love with her. The brunette said that the girl's lover suddenly turned out to be a family man. Michelle said that as soon as Robin had a daughter, he dealt with all the girls he had previously had fun with, and also stopped hanging out at entertainment venues. Olivia wondered if her lover had been hanging out at a nightclub. Michelle asked if the girl didn't know that fact. The brunette reported that at least twice a week, Mr. Robin visited a secret men's club. Michelle explained to the girl that during their relationship, the guy, of course, also visited it. Olivia collapsed on the soft seat in shock, screaming "No!" in a long voice. The guy explained that Robin was afraid that his daughter would indulge in a dissolute lifestyle. Michelle shared that the priests were happy that he was ready to raise the threshold of the church to pieces because of his repentance. Brunei said that this was one of the reasons why it would be difficult to contact him. Memories of how she had mocked her lover's pathetic wife came flooding back to Olivia, and she realized that if she had lived like that, she would have preferred to die. Trying to dispel those memories, the thief screamed that it was all a lie. She remembered that Robin had promised that he would divorce his wife and marry her. In a fit of anger, the girl knocked over a cup of talking coffee. Smiling madly, Olivia asked to bring her proof, and then she would be able to refuse her lover. Michelle wondered if this was all the girl wanted. Throwing a robe over her head, the girl explained that if there was no evidence, everything would be a lie. Everything would. Olivia covered herself completely with her cloak and left the scene. Letitia had a silent question. Would this really be the end of it? The brunette was disappointed that she hadn't heard about Lenica's weak points. Rose was sure that she would get another chance like this. Approaching the brunette, Michelle asked if she had fun eavesdropping. The brunette asked the girl if she was interested in following him from the seaport. The guy assured that he was not against such attention from such a beautiful girl. Michelle explained that it scared him a little. Lenika's servant, her red eyes flashing, asked the girls who she was and what she wanted from him. Rose insisted that he had misunderstood her and also accused her of following him. The brunette explained to the guy that there was only one way from the port, and those who were walking behind were following the first ones. The girl explained that he had misunderstood her. Michel noticed that the brunette checked whether he had entered the cafe and bought a hat, distracting his attention by going to the store. The guy noticed how Rose began to eavesdrop on them, sitting next to them and covering her face with her hat. The Countess jumped up abruptly and explained that she had not been eavesdropping at all. The brunette assured that she had looked in his direction only because they were talking too loudly. The Countess explained to the boy that if he didn't like someone looking at him, then he shouldn't have shouted in public places in the future. The guy grinned and noticed that the girl was acting strangely. Michel was reaching his hands towards the girl's face. The prince put his arm around Rose's waist and asked for forgiveness for her waiting for him for so long. The brunette realized that she would have to endure a theatrical performance again. The girl asked the blonde why he was late. The prince apologized and explained that he had simply mixed up their meeting place. Rose asked the blonde if everything was okay. The brunette explained that even the time of waiting was joyful. With a smile on her face, the girl looked into the sky-blue eyes. Sionian answered the girl that he missed her very much all the time that he was late. The prince assumed that in the girl's place, he would have been angry. The brunette had the feeling that they were a real couple. The blonde asked to scold him, after which they froze in a passionate kiss. The girl sitting nearby in the cafe turned around at the couple in surprise. Michel took one last look at the suspicious girl and left the establishment. Zion warned the brunette that the man was dangerous and asked her not to approach him in the future. Sitting down at the table, Rose asked in what sense this was said. Zion explained that it was literally and shared that the guy had a strange aura. The brunette jokingly asked if the gentleman was talking about the aura of dangerous guys. Prince Pomraknev explained that he was not joking about it. Touching the girl's chest, the prince explained that Michel felt the energy coming from him. Zion explained that he could not remove this bad energy even with his own strength. The girl wondered if Michel was connected to her death. Letitia didn't understand why the brunette needed this. Lanika had a goal to take possession of Aster, but Michel was just her servant. The prince explained that if Letitia's killer's assistants had come here from Northland itself, then they shouldn't have delayed any longer. The girl asked again what he was talking about. The blonde explained to his ward that she should have left Kant. Rose explained that she had not yet heard the results of the second test. The prince explained to the brunette that she had already passed it a long time ago. Sion explained that he had made this decision right after the moonlight ball. The brunette looked a little sad, and after a questioning look, explained that she needed time to say goodbye to Marie and Edgar. Rose explained that they had been very helpful to her here. The blonde had allowed the girl to stay in Kant for 3 more weeks. Sionian supposed that should have been enough for her. The girl grabbed her lover's hand and asked him to wait, and thanked him for his concern. Smiling, the blonde assured him that there was nothing to thank him for. Marie was outraged that Sion was giving them only 3 weeks to say goodbye. The Marquise was outraged by such a short amount of time, because she had really already become attached to the girl. Langaro asked the lady if she didn't know that sooner or later Rose would leave them anyway. He reminded the girl that the brunette had only come here to prepare for revenge. The Marquise muttered through her teeth that if she were not obliged, she would go to His Majesty right now. The blonde asked the girl to come to her senses. Langaro reminded her that her mother said that the girl had a debt secretly from the family. The Marchioness explained that she almost lost her. Marie remembered that if it weren't for His Majesty's help, they would have had to abandon their family. Smiling, the blonde reminded her that it was a clever form of fraud. The Marquise, looking down, explained that she and her brother were too young to understand whether the contract on the receipt from a foreign bank and the handwritten letter from their mother were genuine. Langaro reminded the girl that His Majesty had nevertheless recognized the forgery in the documents. The boy explained to the Marquise that she should not limit herself to just receiving gratitude for the invitation from Marquis Edgard, and even before he received the title. Miss Borden sighed heavily and explained that she had never thought she would like Anna Rose so much. Smiling, Langaro agreed that Rose was a fine girl. The guy agreed that the girl was mature beyond her years because she had been through a lot. The blonde remembered that if he backed down, his protégé would smile like a girl again. The events of the previous night on the beach flashed before the blonde's eyes. Langaro noticed that if Rose were to be compared to a flower, she looked like an evening primrose. Smiling and pointing a finger at the guy, the Marquise warned that if he had any bad thoughts about her, he shouldn't even dream about it. The blonde asked what the lady meant. Marie explained that for people with many wounds like Rose, people like him were poison. Using his abilities and half turning into an animal, the boy noticed that he was a cat. Gritting her teeth, Marie noticed that he was right. Grinning, Langaro explained that he was asking simply out of curiosity. The blonde asked the Marchioness what she thought of His Majesty. The lady remarked that the prince was quite handsome. Langaro explained that he was not talking about that, but about how the likes of Anna Rose treated him. Smiling, Marie explained that this should have been asked of the blonde man, not of her. He put an almost full glass of champagne on the table, and the girl explained that it was now her turn to ask questions. The Marchioness asked what His Majesty thought of Anne Rose. Marie was very concerned about whether the prince considered her sister a human being or a tool to be used. The Marquise sighed heavily and asked when they would arrive. Smiling, "Mainsni," the brunette explained to her sister that looking at them, one would think they were going to a funeral, not a ball. Pressing himself against Rose, the Marchioness explained that they hadn't even had time to have fun. Marie insisted that the girl didn't need that Northland and asked her to stay here. Smiling, the brunette explained that even 40 years would not be enough for them to have fun. Playfully wrestling, she suggested that the girl stay here for 39 years. Laughing, the brunette asked him to stop doing that. Sighing heavily, the Marchioness explained that she had already understood. Marie suggested that it wasn't very cool when the person who decided to organize the send-off behaved so obnoxiously. The Marchioness explained that she had originally planned it, but it all turned into a tasting. The girl told the brunette that the new product would be called Luna's Meeting. Marie admitted that she liked the new name, but didn't like that it would be a tasting. The girl explained to the brunette that she didn't like it, that it would be a public event, and all sorts of rabble would come. Adjusting her luxurious red hair, Rose explained that it was the pain of a successful businessman, and nothing could be done about it. The brunette knew that in Kant, the most important thing was not family ties, but money. Letitia knew that no matter how capitalistic the country was, even if she paid compensation, it would be difficult for Olivia to get rid of the stigma of being a thief. Rose felt guilty that she was looking forward to going to Norton and the place more than she was sad about leaving. Marie asked her sister not to make such a face and explained that she knew everything. The Baroness assured that she would be with the brunette all day today. The party in honor of Rose's farewell was magnificent. There were fruits and many bottles of wine on the table. Small vases with flowers gave the room a certain freshness. A brunette was chatting with a guy with a smile. Suddenly, the girl was called out. The Marquis asked the girl to dance with him. The girl joked that she had to hurry up or there would be no room. Edgard immediately blushed red. Rose excitedly asked if the guy would be able to dance, noticing how red he was. The Marquis, slightly confused, explained that he would dance anyway. Rose assured the boy that she was glad that she would be able to dance with him. Edgard asked if it was too late to ask her to dance. Letitia felt like she was back in time before her wedding, chatting with strangers and laughing loudly at everyone. The brunette realized that this feeling of joy visited her for the first time in a long time. Suddenly, a girl with blonde hair almost knocked Rose off her feet. The brunette recognized Lanika in that girl. Rose was very confused when she heard the apology, and a fire of hatred lit up in her eyes. The blonde, very embarrassed, asked if the girl had gotten hurt because of her. Rose thought it was a hallucination, or she was just drunk. Lanika asked the girl if everything was okay with her. Smiling, the brunette explained that everything was fine, and she was just surprised. Rose assumed that the blonde was dancing country for the first time. The brunette explained to Lanika that she could go there and dance. The blonde realized with horror that she had stained the girl's dress and explained that she was very sorry about it. The visitor from Northland explained that she was not sure that the stain would come off quickly. The blonde asked the victim to follow her. Moving away, Rose explained that everything was fine and she would take care of it herself. She asked to let her go. One of the guys asked the lady if she could move away. He explained that if the girls continued to stand there, they would interrupt the dance. Letting go of Rose's hands, the blonde asked her to wait here for a little while. The brunette did not understand why this girl was here and assumed that this was her next test. The girl remembered that His Highness had said that she had passed all the tests. Letitia assumed that Aster and Olivia were enough for her, and there was no need to involve Lanika as well. The brunette remembered that the gentleman had asked her to stay away from Lanika's butler. Looking around, the girl assumed that Michelle, Shell, and Aster could also be here. Running her eyes over the crowd, the girl noticed Duke Karl Hirschbent. He was casually looking at a gold watch. Catching the girl's gaze, he assured her that he wanted to ask her something. Rose wondered why the man was behaving so rudely. After all, it was not right to beckon a girl with a hand gesture. The man was surprised and insisted that he did not know that it was bad manners. The brunette explained that it was bad manners, at least in Kant. Rose asked the Duke if he was not a local. The girl knew that, compared to Kant, the men from Northland were higher in the hierarchy than the women. She thought that for such powerful princes as Karl, such young girls as she looked quite insignificant, and he clearly looked down on her. Letitia knew that the Duke was different from the dull Northland men. He apologized, but remembered that in Kant he had to follow the local rules. The Duke bowed and apologized for upsetting the girl. The man introduced himself and explained that, as the girl had expected, he had come from another continent. The Duke explained that he did not know the customs of this land and apologized again for his mistakes. Smiling, the brunette explained that she was grateful for his apology. The girl explained that she was Countess Victoire Anna Rosa. The man said he was looking for his companion. Rose asked again about the companion, whether she was an aristocrat about the man's age. The man described to his interlocutor a girl with blue hair and pink eyes. The Count asked if the brunette had seen his companion. Letitia understood that Lanika probably wanted to captivate his son-in-law in order to bring him to Olivia. The brunette wondered what her intention was in coming with Duke Hirschbent. Rose insisted that she had seen the girl. He pointed to the side, and the girl said that the man's companion had gone there. Karl asked if this was where the drink tasting was taking place. The man assumed that it would be difficult to find the person he needed there. The brunette generously offered him her help. The man asked how his interlocutor would be able to do this. Rose asked him to wait a little for her return. The barman immediately turned his attention to Countess Victoire. The brunette noticed that he was doing a great job. Rose explained that she didn't want to distract the guy from his work. The girl asked the blonde if he could organize a table for her here. The bartender asked to follow him. Smiling, Karl assumed that the girl was quite influential in Kant. Straightening her shoulders, Rose assured that she had many acquaintances here. The Count claimed that good people are drawn to good people. The girl wanted to express that this was not always the case. The man explained that he did not see his companion at the table. Rose explained that if he were to move around in vain, he would be completely lost. And she suggested that he wait here while she attracted a man and looked for the girl. The Count thanked his new acquaintance. The brunette asked to bring them 2 bottles of wine. Rose whispered to the waiter to also bring wine diluted with alcohol. The girl explained that as soon as they found the man's companion, they would bring her here. The Count wondered if this was really the new thing that people were so eager to try. Rose assured him that the spirits from the Borden distillery were indeed worthy of praise. The girl asked the man if he had tried drinks from the Bordens. Karl explained that alcohol was often brought to him as a gift. Taking the glass in his hands, the Count assured that the taste of the wine was indeed excellent, but a little sharp. Countess Victoire explained that the alcohol was not very strong, and therefore she would drink too. Karl was surprised that the girl was really keeping him company. The man explained that he would be happy if the girl held out until she got a proper taste. The girl explained that she didn't even know. The events moved forward 30 minutes. Karl was lying on the table and could barely speak. The man asked in a stumbling voice when his companion would arrive. Smiling, the brunette explained that there were a lot of people, so the search would take a long time. Rose thoughtfully suggested that the Count call a carriage so that he could return when he felt a little better. Covering his face with his hands, Karl explained that he couldn't leave because he had come here to catch a thief. Pushing another glass towards the drunk man, the brunette said that recently there was a commotion in Kant because of a thief. Rose said that a girl who received an invitation to tea reached for someone else's jewelry. The brunette shared that the girl turned out to be a foreigner who had recently arrived in Kant. The Countess explained that they searched the girl right there. The girl shared that they found the stolen item right under the dress of that person. Carl asked what the thief looked like. The brunette said that the criminal was a green-haired girl from Northland. Touching the man, the brunette reminded him that she had told him that she was also looking for a thief. Rose asked the Count if he had lost something too. Carl explained that he had lost his daughter's honor. The brunette explained that even for a thief who came from the other side, there had to be a frame. The Count explained that the man he was looking for was the same. The girl asked what the man had done. Carl explained that the girl had tried to seduce his son-in-law. The Count explained that he had not liked the guy from the start, but his daughter had chosen him. And the man's problem was that the guy himself was flighty, and he completely kicked the slut out of Northland. The Count explained that the girl had dared to try her luck in Kant. The man abruptly slammed his hand with the glass on the table. Countess Victoire asked him how he knew the girl was there. Carl explained that his escort had told him everything. The Count suggested that the girl would interfere with his daughter. The man covered his face with his hand and explained that his son-in-law could leave his daughter by throwing mud at the heirs. Carl, lying on the table, promised to find her. The brunette realized that Lanika Pensier had betrayed Olivia. Rose assumed that Olivia had not stood aside and wanted to reveal Lanika's secret, and that's why the girl had taken on Carl. The girl assumed that the blonde, instead of helping her hide, wanted to finish off Olivia. Letitia nervously tapped her finger on the table, not understanding what would happen next. The girl realized that it would be better for her to stay aside, so that her enemies could sort things out among themselves. The brunette understood that now the difference in forces was obvious, and Olivia herself would not last long. Seeing Lanika, the brunette lifted her dress and approached her. The girl asked if the blonde had been looking for her. Lanika was surprised that the girl had been there the whole time. The brunette didn't know if Olivia knew about the weak spots, but she knew that Lanika would get rid of her before it was revealed. The blonde assured Rose that she had already looked everywhere for her. Lanika explained that when she brought the soapy water, the brunette was no longer there. The girl realized that she had better help Lanika and get rid of Olivia once and for all. Smiling, Rose explained that, unfortunately, the event organizer was looking for her. Looking at the brunette in surprise, Lanika asked if the girl was somehow connected to him. Rose, embarrassed, explained that the owners of the Borden Marquise winery were her relatives, that Lanika saw her as an ally. The blonde said with admiration that it was the first time she had seen such a grand event. Lanika grinned and was surprised that her new acquaintance was a close person to such people. Taking Rose's hand, the blonde explained that she had not yet fully introduced herself. The blonde explained that her name was Lanika Snowweather from Northland. With feigned admiration and a smile, Rose explained that she was very pleased to meet her. She planned to find out the girl's weak points. Surprised, the foreigner asked if she really knew her. Smiling, the brunette assured that she knew a little, because the girl was Astor Winchester's fiancée. Rose remembered that he asked her to take care of his fiancée when she arrived. Turning to the brunette, Lanika noted that it was fate. A little upset, the foreigner explained that they never met because the direction of the trial had changed. The blonde explained that she thought they would never meet because it was difficult for them to communicate, since it was difficult to communicate with the other side. Smiling, Rose noted that travelers were very fickle. She explained that, in any case, they eventually managed to meet. The brunette introduced herself as Anna Rose Victoire. The foreigner assured with a smile that she would be glad if they could become friends. Lanika grabbed the brunette by the hand and suggested that they go to the break room to wipe off the stain, since they had already finished the performance. Pulling her hand away, Rose explained that she wanted to do it herself, but came because someone was looking for the girl. The blonde was surprised and asked if her new friend was sure that she was the one they were looking for. The Countess explained that a tall gentleman of about 50 years old was looking for her. The brunette explained that the man introduced himself as Carl and asked if the girl knew him. The foreigner, very nervous, explained that they had arrived together. The blonde insisted that she thought he was completely lost and wanted to go to the tasting. The blonde assumed that they met thanks to a new acquaintance. Letitia realized that everything was not so good. The Countess explained that it was very good that she was able to find the blonde and asked her to follow her. The girls approached the bar. There were ladies standing near the counter and chatting pleasantly over a glass of wine. The foreigner asked the brunette if she was so close to the owners. Then had she met many people. The brunette didn't understand when she allowed her to be addressed by name. With a smile on her face, Rose answered positively and asked what exactly her new friend wanted. The foreigner asked if the brunette had seen a middle-aged girl with green hair and golden eyes. Lanika explained that the girl was from a noble family, so she must have been dressed luxuriously. Letitia realized that she definitely wanted to contact Olivia. The brunette explained that she did not know because there were so many people at the event. The countess asked if she could help the girl with her search. The blonde explained that she would be very grateful for this. At this time, someone slowly approached the foreigner from behind and suddenly grabbed her by the throat. The victim squealed in surprise, seeing a sharp blade in the attacker's hands. The brunette asked Olivia what she was planning to do. The attacker gritted her teeth and told Lanika to shut up and follow her. Olivia warned that if the blonde screamed, she would immediately cut her throat. Rose asked the criminal what she was doing. Holding a knife to the victim's throat, Olivia asked the brunette to go away and not interfere. Turning around, the countess realized that there was no one nearby who could pay attention to this. After all, the tasting was over and everyone had already left. Lanika, breathing heavily, asked Olivia what she was doing, since they were friends. The criminal asked the girl if she was lying to her and reminded her that she had deceived her. The blonde claimed that she was looking for Olivia because she wanted to keep her promise. The criminal asked the girl why she had brought Prince Hirschbent with her. Tears slowly flowed down the blonde's face. Trying to free herself, Lanika claimed that it was an accident. The blonde tried to explain to the criminal that she wanted to help her, and there was no reason for her to do that. Pressing the knife closer and closer to the blonde's throat, Olivia noticed that this was impudence. Rose ordered the criminal to stop and let Lanika go. The brunette suggested that they solve everything with words only. Olivia turned around and asked if anyone had wanted to listen to her when she was being humiliated at the tea party. Letitia did not understand what humiliation the criminal was talking about, because she had actually stolen someone else's thing. The brunette explained that she was very sorry for that. Olivia ordered the girl to shut up, because she did not have time to chat with her. Having dropped the blonde on the floor, the criminal ordered her to immediately tell her butler to bring all her money and jewelry. Olivia ordered the girl to give her ID. The blonde asked the criminal if she had heard what Michelle had said. Lanika explained to the girl that Robin had not wanted to see her. The thief grabbed this girl by her silky hair and explained that it was a lie, and explained that she knew that the girl was saying this only to separate them from her beloved. The victim explained that she had proposed to the guy several times, but he had refused. Lanika explained that she could not drag the man to another country by force. Olivia explained that she would have believed the girl if she had not come with Prince Carl. After a sharp swing, the knife flashed in the air. The criminal ordered Lanika to call her butler, but suddenly someone grabbed Olivia by the hand and threw the knife away from the criminal. Michelle asked if his mistress was okay. Lanika, clinging to the brunette, burst into tears. The victim explained that if it weren't for Anna Rose, she would have definitely died. The brunette asked if everything was okay with the girl, and insisted that everything was fine. Letitia wouldn't mind if Olivia got rid of Lanika, but it was too early for that. The brunette watched with satisfaction as drops of blood flowed from the tip of the knife. The guy mercilessly plunged the knife into Olivia's heart. Consciousness quickly left the criminal's body, and her eyes became dim. The blood quickly flowed onto the luxurious carpet. The guy hung over the barely breathing body. Seeing the horrific picture, the lady shouted at Michelle and menacingly asked what he had done. The brunette explained that the girl wanted to harm his mistress, and that's why he killed her for her sake. There was horror on Lanika's face. The blonde insisted that she didn't want it. The lady asked why Michelle was acting willfully. Wiping the drops of blood from his face, the servant explained that the lady had definitely wanted this to avoid a threat. Small streams of tears continued to slowly flow down the blonde's face. Letitia assumed that the guy killed Olivia to keep Lanika's secret. The blonde asked Rose how they deal with murders in Kant. The foreigner asked what punishment Michelle would receive if he were tried. The brunette explained that the two girls would be charged with self-defense, but not him. The countess warned that the guy would receive a death sentence, since he killed a person from a noble family. With trembling hands, the blonde grabbed Rose by the hem of her dress and asked if there was another way out. Seeing tears on the blonde's face, Rose explained that she was very sorry for her. The hysterically sobbing foreigner asked if the girl could help her. Lanika explained that she was an orphan, the last of the Snow Weather line. The blonde explained that Michelle was the only one who stayed by her side, and he was like family to her. The foreigner explained that she could not lose a loved one again. Letitia couldn't understand why the blonde was so worried about her butler. The brunette knew that such a vile person as Lenika couldn't just protect someone. Rose explained to this girl that this problem was not so easy to solve. Letitia understood that this would be a great opportunity for her. The brunette explained that the girl could not lose someone dear to her because of some criminal. The countess explained that she herself was remembering her loved ones, so she really hoped that this could be resolved as quietly as possible. The brunette understood that this was a chance, after which Lanika would definitely perceive her as an ally. Rose asked the girl to promise her something first. The countess asked that if this case were to be revealed, she would have nothing to do with it. The brunette asked if she could keep her word. The foreigner promised to pretend that the countess had never been there. The white fabric was slowly stained with blood. Those involved in the crime threw the barrel with the body into the sea from a cliff, under the sounds of thunder and heavy rain. The foreigner thanked Rose for her help. The brunette watched coldly as the barrel sank into the water, leaving behind crimson streaks. The countess explained that she had promised Lenika's fiancé to take care of her. Looking at the raging sea, the brunette asked the foreigner and the servant to go first, and explained that she herself would go later. Rose understood that the blonde was not sad at all about Olivia's death. The girl understood that this was only the first step in her revenge. Letitia was afraid of what would happen next. The boy asked if she had been there the whole time. Zion explained that he had heard that the girl had been involved in a fight. The blonde asked the girl with concern if she was hurt. The guy responded with silence. The prince asked why Rose was silent. Hugging the girl tightly, Zion explained that there was no point in worrying. The brunette whispered that she was scared. The guy asked excitedly what they had done to her. Rose explained that, although she had not killed Olivia herself, she had hidden her body in a barrel and concealed the fact of her death. Letitia explained what she felt. The girl reported that in order to prevent bloating from the formation of dead gases, she filled the barrel with sand and finished it off. The brunette explained that this heartless act was done so that they could later pay for her crime. Letitia burst into tears and explained that she was afraid of becoming as terrible as they were. Turning the brunette to face him, the prince explained that the girl was worried in vain. After all, she was not like them. Hot tears rolled down her cheeks. Some drops flowed down the blonde's fingers. Letitia asked the guy if he could know about it. Zion explained that, despite his strictness, sometimes he can never see a girl break down. The brunette assumed it was because of their agreement. Gently kissing the girl on the forehead, the prince noticed that she was talking about it again. The prince explained that if the girl could not take revenge out of fear of this, she herself would become a monster and then blow their throats out. Still crying, Rose explained that this was also part of the contract. The blonde noted that if it could be connected, he would never understand her. Letitia thought it would be better if the guy remained as cold as he was. Zion's behavior only made her want more. Bright stars illuminated the light waves. In the distance, mountains were visible in the haze. The prince reminded the brunette that she perceived him as a sleeping pill. Extending his hand, the blonde explained to the girl that if she needed to be dependent on someone, then she should choose him. With a smile on her face, Letitia asked him what he would do if his ruse failed. Kissing the girl passionately, the blonde explained that he had passionately desired this. The events moved to this port of Kant. Carl assured that he was very sorry, because if they had more time, they could have become friends. The brunette explained that, unfortunately, after such a small amount of alcohol, it was impossible to become her friend. Smiling, the count explained that only one evening had passed. The man asked if the lady was sure that she would not return with him. Lenika explained that she still had some business to attend to. Carl explained that he was just worried about her. The count asked if it was true that it had already been decided. Smiling, the girl answered positively and explained that Olivia had promised to go far away. The blonde assured the count that he would not meet her again. Smiling, he assured her that he had not known that the girl had such a talent for persuading people, and she noted that they were all supposed to become a family. The blonde assumed that this was the reason why the criminal decided to listen to her. Looking at Lenika with disdain, the brunette assumed that again it was not what they call contracts. The foreigner explained that she had one more request for the prince. The blonde asked the man not to reveal Olivia's movements. She explained that the girl had left her a letter. Lanika suggested that Olivia's parents would understand everything if the man showed them himself. The foreigner explained that if the letter was not enough, she would explain everything herself upon her return. Smiling, Carl explained that it would be even more convenient for him. The man claimed that he would leave the rest to the girl. With a smile on her face, the blonde thanked her for her trust. Lanika hugged her friend and explained that Rose had helped her a lot. The foreigner explained that her friend helped find a route for Olivia so that she could go somewhere far away. Rose was disappointed because the girl promised not to advertise her intervention, but she immediately broke her promise. Smiling, the blonde explained it to Anna Rose that it was praise and she shouldn't be angry. The man noticed that despite their long acquaintance, he owed the girl a lot. After shaking the Count's hand, Rose explained that it was not worth it. Carl invited the girl to come and promised to greet her warmly. The girlfriends watched the man with a smile. Lanika noticed that the brunette had done an excellent job since no one had found the criminals bodied in the last few days. The Countess assured that Olivia's body would never be found again. Letitia, thanks to Edgard, managed to do this without difficulty. That night, the guy explained that it was necessary to fill the remaining space, not only with stones, but also with sand. The Marquis explained that otherwise the corpse gas would start to appear, which could cause the barrel to float. The Countess asked her brother how he knew about it. The dim light of the moon illuminated the boy's face. Edgar explained that many things had happened to him before he inherited the family. The brunette reminded her friend that she had said that she still had some business to attend to. The Countess reminded the foreigner that she had told the prince that she could not return because she needed to stay. The blonde explained that she wanted to buy souvenirs since she had come to Kant. Rose asked her friend who she was planning to give it to. The blonde explained that she planned to start by taking care of gifts for the groom's family. The bride planned to buy her beloved a pocket watch and his parents' jewelry and cuff buttons. Letitia's memories took her back a few moments. Her mother-in-law had condemned her for not being able to do even that. Rose noticed that this was not surprising. The blonde asked again in surprise. The Countess asked her friend how much she could spend on shopping. The foreigner answered her positively. The brunette smiled and asked her friend to enjoy her shopping properly. Smiling, Lanika thanked the girl again for keeping it a secret. The Countess pretended to ask her friend what she was talking about, because nothing had happened. A grin appeared on Lanika's face. The events of the story then take us to the luxurious Borden estate. Throwing the cards on the table, the Marquis announced that he had a full house. Taking her cards in her hands, the girl asked what she should do. When she opened her cards, the girl had a quad. Edgard was surprised and claimed that he had hoped to win at least this time. The guy couldn't believe that he had taught the girl such a skillful game. The Marquis remarked that it was suspicious that Rose was good at even that. Smiling, the brunette explained that she even drank better than her brother. With a smile, the girl asked if Edgard had anything he was better at than her. The Marquis noted that it was indeed surprising, since the girl had quoted Kant's laws. Rose asked in surprise if this was really so. The Countess explained that she herself had not known that such a thing could happen. While shuffling a deck of cards, the brunette shared that she was very worried that Lanika would figure out who she really was. Luckily for Rose, the blonde didn't understand until the very end, because both articles voiced by the guy were valid only for them. The girl understood that Lanika wouldn't understand if she didn't have the courage to visit the court herself. The brunette understood that even if she found out, the foreigner would not have any influence. The Countess suggested that she could simply say that she was confused in panic. The girl deftly distributed the cards. Edgard hesitated a little and asked Anna Rose if he could ask her something. The guy warned her that it might be too personal and if everything was okay. With a smile, the brunette explained that she would listen first. The Marquis asked her what her relationship was with His Highness Sionian. A certain panic appeared on the girl's face. The Countess explained that she owed the prince and was now paying off her debt. Edgard, slightly angry, realized that the girl knew that he had not told her about this. The brunette, very embarrassed, was a little confused. A little upset, the Marquis explained that everything was fine and he had suspected it from the beginning. A tear ran down the girl's face. The guy asked her not to make that face, because it was hurting him. The Marquis explained that he started this conversation only so that Rose would know that at any moment she could make another choice. Edgar explained that the choice always depended on the will of the person. The guy noted that there are those who do not even dream of such an opportunity. With some sadness in her eyes, the brunette explained that she was already dead. Rose realized that she could not dream of new love, nor of her future. The Countess explained that the contract had its own condition. Edgard asked the brunette if that was really her answer. Rose sighed heavily and explained that this applied not only to himself, but to any other man as well. He put his hand on the table. The Marquis noticed that the girl was so kind that she even turned him down kindly. The guy asked her to remember that while people live, their future is constantly changing. He tucked the girl's hair behind her ear and brought his face closer to hers. Edgar explained that he would like to be in her future. A certain spark lit up in the amethyst eyes. Langaro explained to the boy that it was possible to stop there. With anger in his eyes, the blonde reminded Edgar that he had not left Rose under his care for this. The Marquis muttered through his teeth that this was his house. Edgard explained that he had the right to show his good attitude towards the girl here. The prince explained to the boy that the one he had decided to touch was his secret agent. Sion asked the Baron if he wanted to say something like, "She is a human being first." The Marquis explained that it was very unpleasant for him to hear such things from the blonde. Sitting down on a chair, Zion asked the guy to be patient, assuring him that he himself had felt unpleasant a few minutes ago. The blonde explained to the Baron that if he wanted to play at love, he should pick up someone from the outside. Edgar angrily explained that this was not so. The boy noted that he knew that the prince did not understand what sublime feelings were. Smiling, Zion explained that the guy's sublimity was to confuse the girl who was about to have an important event. The prince assumed that the Baron did not want her to return to her homeland. Taking the girl by the hand, the prince asked her not to be mistaken. Sionian reminded the brunette that he was the one who created Anna Rose. The blonde explained that his behavior, character, clothes, and every single hair and eyelash were created by his hands. The guy asked the Baron what right he had to create him. The blonde asked the girl if she wanted to forget about her revenge and start a new life with the Baron. Pulling his hand away, Rose explained to His Highness that she had not forgotten their deal for a day. Looking at the Baron, the guy noticed that this pleased him. The blonde assumed that he had not made a mistake in choosing an exalted partner. The Baron looked at the girl with upset eyes and asked her if she was telling the truth. The brunette sighed heavily and explained that this was her only reason to live. Sionian ordered the boy to take the Baron out. A little nervously, he suggested that his lordship go with him. With a trembling voice, the girl tried to explain to the Highness what had just happened. Zion said that there was no need to explain. The blonde explained that he had already realized that she had no feelings for that guy. She asked the gentleman how he found out. The prince explained that even behind the door he saw her eyes, not knowing where to hide from awkwardness. The blonde remembered how the girl said, "To anyone else." Smiling, he explained that he was glad that she knew her place. Gently kissing the girl's shoulder, Zion wondered why he felt so disgusting. The brunette asked the gentleman what had bothered him so much. The guy explained that he knew how devoted the girl was to him. He asked her to keep it between them, and reminded her that if she wanted to love someone, he was ready for it. Rose explained that in Nordland, she would have to play the role of his lover. The girl wondered if he really wanted her to get used to it in advance. Zion reminded the girl that the best pretender in her person becomes his. The brunette claimed that she did not want to have such feelings for the guy, even if she became free. He asked if her opinion would change if he allowed it. Letitia wondered if she could love again. She knew that she and Astor were different, but if she was betrayed again, she would definitely break down, unable to bear it. The girl was very scared whether it was love that her lover promised her. Rose explained that if he did not bind them with a romantic relationship, then in any case the contract was concluded. The brunette promised the guy that she would never betray him. The girl sat on his lap while he gently stroked her luxurious thick hair. The guy explained that he knew everything. Getting up from her knees, the girl explained that she needed a little time and could not answer at the moment. Taking her fragile hand, Zion explained that he could not be kept waiting for long. Kissing the brunette tenderly, the prince reminded her that his patience was not gentlemanly. A light draft caused the cards to slowly fall to the floor. Lanika asked her friend what she was thinking about so intensely and deeply. The blonde noticed that Rose looked sad today and asked if everything was okay. The Countess explained that everything was too hectic due to work matters. The foreigner remarked that it was touching that her friend went shopping with her despite being busy. Rose thought that she was lying, but pretending well. Rose asked the blonde if she would go to Kant immediately after buying the gifts. Lanika assured that if there was such a possibility, she would like to find someone. The foreigner explained that this person was very important to her. The brunette explained that if this is a person dear to the girl, then she too has become interested. Rose asked if it was a secret and asked him to tell her more in that case. Lanika explained that there was nothing special about it and it was just her family. The girl explained that she did not know whether she could use such expressions, since he might not perceive her that way. She asked what her friend meant. Taking the elegant cup in her hands, the blonde shared that she was looking for her older half-sister. Letitia was surprised that the girl had a half-sister. Lanika explained that since the girl's mother was a servant, she did not receive the last name Snowwither. The blonde shared that despite this, she considered the girl her sister. The brunette asked if she had survived the fire. The foreigner assumed that this was most likely the case. Rose asked how Lanika knew that her sister was alive. The blonde explained that after the fire, only her body was not found. Lanika said that after a few months, a trader who lived nearby said that he saw the girl leaving for another country late at night. Doubts crept into Letitia's mind. The brunette wondered why the girl hadn't returned home. Rose assumed that if the girl was a maid, she would have asked if her mother was alive. The brunette wondered why Lanika was looking for her sister. The Countess looked at the embarrassed blonde with suspicion. The brunette did not understand why she did not say a word about her family. Taking the girl by the hand, Rose asked her not to worry. The brunette suggested that the girl tell about her sister so that she could look for the fugitive. A little confused, the foreigner explained that she was not sure that her sister was in Kant. Lanika explained that there were only rumors that she had been seen on a ship heading to Kant. Releasing his shaking hand, Rose explained that there was nothing that could be done about the situation. The brunette explained that it was impossible to find a non-existent person. Grabbing the brunette's hand, the girl assumed that she had asked her friend for something too complicated. Lanika asked the girl if she could count on her help. With a smile, the girl answered positively and asked what her sister looked like. The foreigner explained that she had the same hair as her and blue eyes. Lanika explained that her sister didn't look like her. The lost girl's distinguishing feature was a birthmark on her wrist that looked like a cat. The blonde shared that her sister was called Kitty. Letitia wondered if this was a weak point that Lanika was willing to kill anyone to protect. The brunette said out loud that even if it wasn't a big deal. She suggested that they continue shopping since they had already finished drinking. With a smile on her face, the foreigner supported the proposal and took her friend by the hand. Letitia was jubilant because she would be able to lead the girl to the very collapse without stopping. The Marchioness called out to Rose once she got out of the carriage. Marie asked the brunette if she had enjoyed shopping and if she had felt terribly disgusted. The Duchess explained that after His Highness's checks, she had become braver and felt nothing. The brunette explained that something had been troubling her. The girl shared that when a foreigner bought something, she only drew up temporary contracts. Rose explained that she understood that since it was jewelry, she had not even made an advance payment, which amounted to only 10% of the contract amount. The Marchioness noticed that it was indeed strange. The brunette explained that she had lied so much that most people in jewelry stores always did that. The Marchioness remembered that her sister was from there. The brunette explained that she had immediately seen through her lie. Taking a large wine glass, Marie explained that these were just her guesses, but most likely the foreigner was facing financial difficulties. The brunette asked again in surprise. The Marquise explained that if she had the money, she would have made her own advance payment. The girl explained that since she was the heiress of the Counts, she must have had an impressive inheritance. Letitia remembered that just recently, Clarissa and Olivia had talked about expecting a dowry from Lanika. The brunette understood that the girl should receive a huge inheritance, as the only surviving heir in the fire. The girl suggested that if the blonde really was facing poverty, it might be connected with the sister she was looking for. Looking thoughtfully at her sister, she assumed that Lanika had more than one weak spot. Smiling, the Marquise handed her sister a glass of wine. Marie noticed that the more weaknesses the enemy had, the sweeter the revenge became. Taking a sip of the scarlet liquid, the brunette noted that this wine was quite good. The marquise explained that this time she tried to make something from strong alcohol and oat milk. Smiling, Marie suggested that her sister close the topic with Lenika. The girl suggested developing a new product for the Bordens. Edgar asked in surprise if he really could not help her. The brunette explained that they could go first because she wanted to walk in the garden. Rose asked the marquis to take care of Marie. Looking at his sister, the guy asked her how much she had drunk. The drunk girl claimed that she hadn't drunk much at all, and had only sipped a little of what was appropriate for the Bordens. Edgar asked his sister not to profane the Borden name. Rose stepped out into the fresh air, a light breeze fluttering her cloak as the first stars appeared in the sky. The brunette sat down on the bench, realizing that His Highness would scold her again if he saw her. The girl's eyes slowly closed, plunging her into drunken dreams. Loud footsteps were heard in the viscous silence. Approaching the Countess, Michelle asked how she had slept. Jumping up abruptly, the girl asked what he was doing there. The brunette loomed over Rose with a smirk. The brunette jumped up abruptly and asked how he got there. The guy explained that he came here specifically to see her. The girl's eyes widened. Lenika's servant explained that otherwise she would not have even started a conversation with him. Smiling, Michelle thanked the girl for turning a blind eye to his small mistake. The guy said that he personally wanted to talk to her, and they met. The Countess explained that this was trespassing. The girl said that if that was all he wanted to say, she asked him to leave. Pleasantly remembering that he was in this place too. Catching the girl's surprised look, Michelle assumed that he should have introduced himself first. The guy bowed slightly and said that he was the butler of the Counts of Snowwither, and introduced himself as Michel Chaim. The brunette assured that he was glad to see how the girl had become friends with his mistress. Rose explained that if he liked that they had become close, then he should refrain from such unexpected visits. The girl explained that she did not want to distance herself from her friend because of her butler's strange attacks. The guy explained that he himself was worried about the lady's new friend. The girl asked again what he was talking about. Michelle explained that Saul was next to the brunette. The brunette asked if they were currently living in the same castle together. Letitia was very wary because, according to official information, His Highness was delayed with Prince Sullivan. That the prince was living with the Marquises of Borden must not be known to anyone. Clutching her cloak tightly, the girl explained that she did not understand what he was talking about. Rose explained to the guy that if he wanted to meet Zionian, he had come to the wrong place. The brunette grinned and explained to the lady that he had a slightly special sense of smell. Michel, holding out his hand, explained that he could sense the presence of any person just by smell. Taking a lock of black hair, the brunette sniffed carefully. The servant noticed that it was strange that he had probably seen the girl before. He explained that the girl was smelling too familiar. Pulling her hand away, Rose assumed that he had confused her with someone else, since she had never been to Northland before. The brunette noticed that the girl's familiar scent was blocked by a stronger energy. The girl asked again what it meant. With a grin, Michelle noticed that she was completely covered by Sol's charms. Piercing Rose with his red eyes, the guy noticed that her body was gushing with energy from the depths. The guy asked if she had signed the oath contract. Turning around abruptly, the brunette explained to the guy that he was overdoing it by showing up in the middle of the night. Rose ordered him to leave if he had nothing else to say. Smiling, the brunette explained that the agreement with Saul was categorical, but that did not mean that it could not be broken. He invited Rose to come to him if she wanted to make a deal. Letitia asked why she should trust the guy. Lenika's servant explained that the girl herself would regret it, but he hoped that it would not be too late. The night guest suddenly disappeared into the darkness of the night. The girl walked along the corridors. The weak starlight barely illuminated the path. The blonde asked the girl why she couldn't sleep. Rose froze, not knowing what to answer. The brunette asked why she was the one, since the prince could have found anyone he wanted. He put down a glass of wine. The prince assured that people were wrong when they thought that he loved everything ideal. The guy explained that many people tried to buy his favor by offering him better quality and more perfect things. Rose wondered if he was tired of it. The brunette suggested that the prince wanted something unusual. Having poured the girl another glass, the guy reminded her that she had been reborn at his hands. The brunette remembered the recent incident with the Marquise and Sion. The guy asked if the girl really thought she was doing something unusual. The blonde explained that unusual couldn't even compare to this. Holding Rose tightly to himself, the guy reminded her that she belonged to him. Unfortunately, he doesn't even think about giving her something in return for her feelings, or at least understanding. The girl understood that the guy just wanted to play to his heart's content. Letitia understood that the prince wanted some dream of hers, after which she could be thrown away. The girl reminded the gentleman that he had told her to choose him if she had to love someone. Rose explained that if he wanted it with all the feelings he told her about, she could not do it. The brunette suggested that she was too intoxicated by the warmth she had never received. The girl explained that it was because of this that she allowed herself to feel anything other than a thirst for revenge. Letitia explained that as a member of his family, she was willing to give him anything, but if all he wanted was to play with her, then she would not be able to love him. The brunette quickly walked out of the room. Zion watched her with surprise. The guy was left alone with his thoughts in the darkness of the night. The blonde poured himself another glass of good wine. Clutching his head, the prince realized how disgusting he felt. The morning rays of the bright sun jumped like sunbeams on the roof of the estate. The Marchioness wished Rose a good morning. The brunette asked her sister if she had slept well. Marie responded positively, and noted that the girl looked unwell today. The Marquise asked if something had happened to the girl with His Highness. Rose explained that it was nothing like that. Although the events of the previous night flashed before her eyes, the girl sat down at the table, on which lay a lot of fruit and 2 cups of hot tea. The Marquise looked around sharply and asked what was going on. Approaching the maid, the Marquise asked who had come there, since it was so noisy. The maid became very nervous and stuttered, trying to explain something. Lenika turned to her friend with a smile. The brunette asked the foreigner what she was doing there. The blonde explained that she was in a hurry to get here. Lenika explained that when she met her friend, her heart was fluttering with joy. The blonde quickly tried to tell what had happened. Stopping the stranger's speech, the Marquise asked the name of the lady who had so unexpectedly visited their estate. Marie's eyes were filled with undisguised hostility. A very nervous blonde introduced herself as Lenika Snowier. The Baroness introduced herself as Marie Borden and explained that she was the owner of the house. The girl shared that she felt lost because a stranger had appeared here without warning. Lenika was surprised and asked how that was possible. The blonde said that she had sent a message to Anya Rose a few days earlier. Looking at her friend with pitiful eyes, the blonde asked whether her friend had received the message. Rose knew that this was another subtle trick. She asked the guest who she had sent. The blonde explained that she was only a tourist and had sent a servant from the hotel where she was staying. The girl explained that she didn't know Kant's geography very well. Letitia understood that she didn't even realize that it was her mistake. A little confused, the Countess explained that she hadn't received anything. Rose explained then there was nothing to be done, as it was the servant's mistake. The guest thanked him for his understanding and asked if she could come inside. The maid was quietly telling something to the mistress in her ear. Looking at Lenika, the Marquise explained that she had heard from the maid that she had arrived with an escort. Looking at her friend, the brunette did not understand what kind of escort they were talking about. The guest explained that he had his own reasons. The hostess of the house explained that she really didn't like receiving guests who came of their own free will without first obtaining her permission. Marie said she would be drinking tea with a man as an unmarried woman. Stretching sweetly, the girl explained that she had no idea what rumors would arise. The blonde explained that the mistress of the house does not have to worry about it. She explained that the girl does not have to worry about it, and she will solve this issue herself. And she asked what to do, because Kant was an island country, and rumors spread very quickly here. The guy with dark hair offered to explain the situation. The brunette was the country's guard knight, and his name was Tom Felton. Looking at the guy in surprise, the Marchioness asked if the guy was Tom Felton. The brunette noticed that they had not seen Madame Marie for a long time. Bowing, the Baroness explained that she was always grateful to this man for his hard work. Rose remembered that the boy was the second son of the Baron's Felton. But, unlike his older brother, who would inherit the family business, the boy became a knight. Despite his low status, the Baron was a very versatile worker and a billionaire. The guy usually accompanied the richest people of Kant, and she did not understand why he came with Lenika. The brunette said that while he was patrolling his area of jurisdiction, he noticed Ms. Lanka in distress. The knight said that he asked her if she needed a doctor, but she refused. Tom explained that the girl was so afraid of getting into a similar situation in a foreign land that he became her escort knight. The guy sincerely but reservedly asked for forgiveness for the fact that everything turned out to be so sudden. The Marchioness explained that if someone expressed themselves properly, everything would be fine. A little confused, Lanika revealed that she was very afraid of such situations, and so Lord Tom simply agreed to guard her. Rose asked her friend's permission and explained that she would have to reschedule their afternoon tea. The brunette explained that this was the palace of the Marquis of Borden, and they valued the secrets of their distillery very much. But she explained that they lived off their know-how and recipes. Her friend told her that according to tradition, they could not receive guests without warning. The Countess asked if the foreigner understood the whole situation. Lanika explained that Lord Tom did not know it. The Baroness asked the brunette if he could express his tactlessness. The guy agreed, and she explained that she and the barons had begun a competitive bidding for alcohol products. Marie hoped that the guy would understand her opinion about accepting competitors as guests. Panicking a little, the blonde explained that she wanted to drink tea and strengthen their friendship. The guest said that she lacked care, as she had no family left after the fire. Lanika explained that she really wanted to get closer without malice. Rose noticed that her friend always had her own tragic story. The brunette told with a grin that she also had no family. Nervously biting her fingers, the Countess explained that their lands had been flooded last year and she had been left alone. The brunette shared that the Marquises Borden had taken pity on her and kept her. Letitia understood that this was the last trick to avoid such difficult situations. And she was surprised that the girl thought that if she looked pathetic in the eyes of others, then everyone would understand everything. Rose asked the blonde if it was fate if they were in the same situation. The brunette knew that Lanika had chosen the wrong person. The girl, smiling, said that, apparently, she had unknowingly shown tactlessness. After shaking her friend's hand, Lanika explained that she had hoped they could become closer. Letitia and the Marchioness watched the unexpected guest leave. The brunette noticed that there was no reason for going on hikes with Lanika. Marie assumed that the guy could not get rid of the feeling of responsibility for her. Letitia assumed that the girl had finally chosen a new target. As she left the gate, the blonde thanked the guy. Crossing his arms behind his back, he explained that there was no need to thank him. The girl claimed that she had definitely sent the letter to Anna Rose and that she had not read it. Lanika explained that it had been a very sad day for her. Adjusting the frill in her cleavage, the blonde said that she had wasted his time. Tom asked her once again not to worry so much. The foreigner asked the brown-haired man if he wanted to have some tea. But the guy explained that he couldn't come into her room. Tom said he wouldn't mind having some tea on the veranda. The girl in the luxurious pink dress quickly left. Soon there were 2 small cups on the table. The knight sniffed the tea carefully. The guy hesitated a little. Lanika asked the brunette what had happened. Tom explained that the smell of this tea was stronger than what he usually drank. Smiling, the foreigner assumed that the tea was very strong. The guy took a cautious sip. The blonde asked him with interest if he liked it. Tom noted that the tea was a bit bitter, but still good. Later, she asked the brunette if he had a fiancée. The foreigner noticed that the guy was good-natured and well-mannered, and he shared that he was going to marry a girl named Barbara. Lanika congratulated him and explained that she would like to attend his wedding. A little confused by this question, the knight explained that they had not yet decided on a date. The blonde noticed that Tom looked unwell. The girl asked if she should call someone. The knight refused. The lady noticed that the boy turned very pale, as if he felt very ill. Lanika, putting down a mug of hot tea, explained that she would call the staff. Holding back a wave of nausea, the brunette explained that it was not worth doing. It was better for him to go home. The girl assumed that it would be hard for the knight to return in such a state. And, holding the guy's hand, the foreigner explained that she was ready to help him. Tom asked how a knight could accept help from a lady, but he tried to prove that he was fine. Suddenly, the blonde fell to her knees. Edgar burst into the room and told his sisters that the brunette had been arrested for sexual harassment. Not believing her ears, the Marquise asked him again what he had just said. The boy explained that there had been rumors that he had touched Lanika Snoweiser. Marquise explained that he had heard the hotel staff say so. Edgard explained that this was kept a top secret and asked not to tell anyone. The marquise curiously asked her brother on what grounds this had happened. The guy explained that the girl wanted to thank the knight for accompanying him on foreign territory and offered to have some tea. The marquis reported that an hour later, security filed a complaint against him, and he explained that this happened because Lenica was crying and asking for help. Then the employees immediately contacted the security group. The girl asked her brother if he really thought that Tom could have harassed her. The marquise explained that it might be because they were both men, but he was sure that the Tom he knew would not have done such a thing. The Marchioness noted that this was not surprising. The brunette assumed that she wanted to create a scandal in the Borden house. Looking back at Rose, the Marchionesses asked in one voice what this could mean. The girl explained that witnesses were needed to prove the harassment. The Countess explained that otherwise the trial could last a very long time, and she noted that the higher the status of the witness, the easier it was to prove what had happened. Rose assumed that the girl wanted to get to them under the pretext of being a close person to her. But since the marquises forbade her to do so, Lenica conspired with a worker at the hotel. Marie noticed that she had not liked the foreigner from the very beginning. The girl wondered what she wanted from Tom. The guy assumed that the girl wanted money, and the family would probably want this case to be closed quietly. The marquis explained that the lady, in turn, would be able to shake a large sum out of them for a non-proliferation agreement. Letitia understood that Winchester would only accept with all his heart someone who had a huge inheritance. The brunette understood that Lenica was no different from people in need. The girl asked the Bordens for permission to do something. Rose asked if she could intervene in this matter without causing harm to that family. With a heavy sigh, Edgar suggested to the girl that if she wanted it that way, he could set up a meeting with Tom. The brunette asked with admiration if that was really possible. Very nervous, the guy explained that he knew the general, and shared that the man was an ardent admirer of Marie. The marquise furtively asked the boy how it was for him to have such a popular sister. The boy explained that the general was not himself, and perhaps they had contracted some disease. Rose noticed that Marie was indeed a reliable ally for her. She was looking at one of the books in the huge library. Footsteps were heard in the silence. The man asked if it was true what she wanted to say, that the matter was supposedly in Felton's house. The brunette was surprised by the unexpected meeting with His Highness. Rose decided to find out how he knew about her location. It turned out that there was nothing in the world that he didn't know. The girl froze with the book in her hands. Handing her a piece of paper, the prince explained that she could do this if she wanted, and he warned that she had the right to touch on this only until the moment when her personality was not directly connected with it. The blonde remembered that the lady had already learned all the most important things and passed the test. The guy assumed that she would definitely cope better than he expected. Rose noticed that it sounded rather strange. The girl explained hesitantly that she was happy. The prince asked what exactly she was talking about. Smiling, the brunette explained that she finally felt like a human being. Interrupting her sentence, the blonde reminded her that the girl had always been him. And he explained that the brunette was only hindered by the one who did not see it. The guy asked how this girl's ex-husband got involved with Lenica Snoweyser. He explained that Astor had no other reason to do this besides the girl. The brunette explained that she was much more beautiful than her, and was quite famous in social circles. A little upset, Leticia explained that her ex-husband first met the girl when he was preparing to produce white tea. Astor was researching information for the supply of a product from Westeros, and the girl was originally from there. The brunette initially got close to Lenica for his own benefit, and then it all started. The girl shared that Astor said that Lenica was his true love. She asked hesitantly if it sounded stupid. Holding out his hand, the prince explained that it was only Winchester who was stupid. He noted that she prioritized the wishes of others. The blonde reminded her that she had eyes only for one lover. And he admitted that he didn't like this trait from the beginning. The prince added that it was she who took away his mind. After all, when the girl appeared in his field of vision, all his thoughts were forgotten. The blonde once again hugged his beloved and looked into her amethyst eyes. And he admitted that he didn't like the only thing she was attached to her ex-husband. The guy reminded the brunette that she could only look at him. The blonde noticed that she had pushed him away earlier, but eventually she came to her senses, and he began to slowly move away from the girl, and his steps echoed throughout the library. The brunette squeezed her hand and thought for a bit. A girl dressed in black stood near the prison. The jailer asked if the girl was Countess Victoire. After hearing a positive response, the man said that he was told that she had come on a date with Tom. The brunette explained that this was completely true. Opening the heavy oak door, the man informed her that she had only 10 minutes. The girl persistently extended her hands and entered. Taking a small envelope from her bag, the brunette said that this was what the man had asked for. And she explained that the thank you note was personally written by Marie. The guard happily announced that he would be back in 10 minutes. The man slowly walked away, whistling a cheerful tune. A small ray of light penetrated the guy's cell. Tom asked who the stranger was. The girl responded with a gentle voice. The exhausted guy asked if the girl was Countess Victoire. The brunette said that she had brought the item especially for him. The girl explained that he could accept it, since the item had passed through security, and she handed over pieces of baguette wrapped in a napkin with lots of seeds and nuts. The guy immediately realized that his beloved had prepared it. The brunette explained that the guy's fiancé asked her to tell him that her faith remained unchanged. Bowing his head, the brunette thanked the countess. Rose asked if she could find out what had happened. The girl said that she heard a foreigner invite him for tea. Tom said that after the drink, he felt sick. His body did not obey him, and his consciousness slowly left him. The countess asked if the boy had done anything else before that tea. The boy explained that the only tea he had touched his lips that day was tea at the hotel. The knight reported that when he regained consciousness, he found that he was holding Lenika by the shoulders, and she was crying. And he explained that after he regained consciousness, he was arrested, saying that he had attempted to rape this woman. Rose asked if there was anything else strange. The guy explained that the smell of tea was stronger than usual. Tom shared that if it was the tea, then Lenika's condition should have changed because she drank it. The countess asked if the guy had left during that tea party, but he shared that the foreigner had poured the tea herself. The knight explained that even if Lenika had managed to slip him something, by the time he woke up, the teapot and cups had been knocked over. The brunette was surprised at how carefully the foreigner had prepared that trap. Tom explained that he couldn't understand it at all, because he had made every effort for her safety. And then he explained that if the blonde didn't like something, she could tell him right away. Rose explained that she did not believe that he could have committed such a crime. Tom asked again in surprise if the girl really thought so. The countess promised to contact him soon. The girl asked him to put his thoughts in order, and she offered the guy to either fight for justice or calmly negotiate with the swindler about the amount. Tom explained that if everything were that easy, he would like to appeal. The countess asked what the problem was. The knight explained that he had doubts, as it could have been a difficult battle. Tom explained that his family did not care so much about his innocence. The guy added that his relatives wanted to solve this problem as quietly as possible with money. The brunette explained that he could not leave his beloved. Rose said that the choice was only up to the guy. Heading towards the prison exit, the brunette said that she did not want to look at his chosen one with awkwardness in the future. Rose told the guy that his beloved believed in his purity and was waiting. The countess asked him not to betray the girl's feelings.